that. If it was closer to 60, I think everybody could get behind that. But, you know, we'll take the upper 40s and low 50s with the sunshine a couple of days here to dry out after the soggy weather that we've seen as of late. So it's about 3 days here without rain across the Mid-South, but we get into your Saturday, and that's when the next system comes down the pipeline. I want to give you a first alert to our next weather maker that will have impacts on Saturday night into Sunday as that system works its way off towards the east. Now, there's going to be a couple of things that go on here. Obviously, we're dealing with the rain showers moving across the Mid-South as we go through that time frame. But behind that, much colder air is also going to be locking itself in. So there is some question marks of how this will evolve into next week because the pattern gets a little locked up, and what will ultimately end up happening is that while we have colder air near the surface, we will have more moisture building in the upper levels of the atmosphere. That could lead up to some showers, cold showers, in fact, across much of the area as we head towards the early portion of next week. But there's still some iffiness in how that will all come together. So we have colder than average temperatures. We have pretty, medium to high confidence in that occurring into the weekend and early next week. Remember, the average high is about 58, 59 degrees. Occasional rain chances, a medium chance with that. And I add in, usually, we talk about severe weather, but this is also a realm of severe weather. It's wintry weather. And it wouldn't be the stuff that you'd like to see. It's the stuff that you hate. And it would be the potential for some freezing rain or drizzle next week. That chance is minimal for now. To be seen how things ultimately come together, because we'll have the colder than average temperatures. The question mark is, does the moisture meet up with it at the same time? It's a shallow layer of cold air. It's not super deep, so that would lend itself more to the ice potential rather than the snow potential. Understand this, okay? This mostly is going to be an issue for Missouri, Western Kentucky, Southern Illinois, just outside of our coverage area. If you're doing some traveling, that's something that we need to keep an eye on through the weekend and the early portion of next week. I say this for us here in the Mid-South because there are some indications that there could be some brief moments next week, early next week, that could have some impact with this. Not anything overwhelming, but it could be impactful if it were to occur. We'll watch it closely. We'll be here to track it with you here. But again, that confidence is low. Very, very low in that part of the forecast. So I want to point that out. Now, as far as the weather updates, anytime and everywhere, you can download it on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Like I said, our main event here this weekend brings us rain, just plain Jane rain as we head through that time frame. As you'll notice here, 65, the high temperature on your Tuesday. We'll go for a high temperature of about 52 tomorrow. And the breezy north winds flowing through here. Some gusts around 30 miles per hour. Bright sunshine for Thanksgiving. More sunshine early in the day on Black Friday, but we'll add in the clouds through the afternoon hours. And here come the rain chances. Again, these will be just plain Jane rain showers for us here in the Mid-South. But if you have plans, maybe you're heading to St. Louis and you're trying to work your way down south again on Saturday or Sunday, there could be some wet snowflakes mixing in there. I wouldn't be surprised if we do end up with a bank of snow up that way, up closer to St. Louis and Columbia and Kansas City. Not our problem, though. We'll just have the rain showers. But the question mark is, as that colder air near the surface starts to sneak a little further down to the south, sometime Monday to Tuesday, there may be a reinforcing shot of colder air that sneaks in here. That will be a question mark in the forecast in the 10-day.
Okay, well, that doesn't look like a bad forecast at all, Patrick. Just one question: next weekend, or this weekend, I should say, is it a washout the entire weekend?
No, it's leaning more so late Saturday night into Sunday. So we might start off Saturday without much fanfare. There might be a few showers back out west, but I think after about maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the rain showers start moving across the river. That's when we start to get into it. So that's why we have a 60% rain chance overnight Saturday into Sunday. The question mark is, how quickly does it move out of here? Right now, it's looking morning hours of rain showers, and then we'll dry up a little bit by the end of the day.
All right, meteorologist Patrick Ellis joining us now with the deep dive. Patrick, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, let's talk now about that forecast that you're looking at right now, or at least the window outside. You can see certainly clouds out there, some fog as well. This is outside of our studios here, 1960 Union Avenue, 59 degrees, 707. Another shot downtown. Again, foggy, cloudy conditions Not too bad, though, temperature-wise, just 59 degrees as you get up on this Tuesday morning. Of course, we'll be checking in with meteorologist Patrick Ellis throughout the morning here on Action News 5's Digital Desk. But also, I want to go through some of what we have scheduled for you this morning in terms of interviews. We know that the holiday season for so many of us is filled with so much joy and happiness for so many families across Memphis and the Mid-South. But the holidays can be very painful and filled with a lot of grief for others. So on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, we're going to be talking with a licensed counselor from Methodist Lebanon Healthcare about ways to cope and overcome some of that grief that so many of us deal with during the holidays. They're going to be joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Also, have you ever watched the National Dog Show on Thanksgiving Day? It is quickly becoming a tradition for so many families out there. Well, both the hosts, the co-hosts, are going to be joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We're going to talk about this year's show, what it means, how it's becoming a family tradition. They are joining us later this morning. And then we're going to be joined by our friend Talisa Franklin and Kel Mitchell, an actor and comedian. He's going to be joining us to talk about a Christian humanitarian organization that's helping families all across the country. And so he's going to tell us about that as well. Of course, we also, as I mentioned, have updates to your forecast, and we're going to go through some of the top headlines as well. When we return, we're going to talk a little bit more about what you can check out, what to really get you into the holiday spirit throughout today and for the next several days as we kick off the holidays in high gear. That's coming up in 1 minute on Action News 5's Digital Desk. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. There are so many people across Memphis and the Mid-South that are smack dab in the middle of the holiday season. They feel the holiday spirit, and it is upon us, certainly. Then there are others that are kind of slow to the holiday season. Well, no matter what, on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, we are talking about holiday traditions in Memphis for so many families out there. So many families take part in various holiday traditions that have been a part of Memphis for many, many years. It's time to get you into the holiday spirit. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Jalen Suchek. She runs I Love Memphis blog with her and her staff, and you have outlined some amazing traditions out there when it comes to the holidays, Jalen. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. Yeah, Memphis has actually so much to offer with the holidays, and this is kind of really the week that we're gearing up. So we're going to start with we'll have some old holiday traditions and some new ones this year. So to start it off, what's really exciting is that the Memphis Zoo just opened their first ever Lantern Festival over the weekend. So Friday night was the first night. This replaces the long-running zoo lights. But this is gonna be really cool. You're seeing video of it right now. There's 60 plus massive illuminated sculptures. Many of them are animal shaped or kind of Memphis themed, the Egyptian nods that the zoo likes to do. And you walk through the whole zoo, you see all these. There'll be Christmas lights as well. The old lights tunnel, for example, is now illuminated with lanterns. So I think it's just a really fun new tradition. If you've been to zoo lights for a long time, this is just something totally different for the Memphis area. And it's great for families, date nights, all the photo opportunities. And what's really cool, the Memphis Zoo this year is doing sensory-friendly nights, and those are going to be on December 10th and January 14th for guests looking for maybe a more calmer experience. This is a separate ticket from Zoo Lights. You can buy, from the Memphis Zoo admission, you can buy that on the website. And what's really cool about this is it also runs through February 1st. So there is plenty of time to go out. I have not been out yet, but I'm really excited about Lantern Festival this year.
Me too. In fact, just like you, I was looking at those pictures, and we talked about it. We were live, one of the mornings and talking about it. Been to Zoo Lights plenty of times, and it's such a great experience. And it looks like this would be even better for so many people out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many more things happening too. So Andrew, I'm going to be interested to see how many you have done in your lifetime here. But
Okay.
one of those long-standing traditions is Starry Nights, and that's at Shelby Farms Park. And so that will open up on November 28th, and it runs through select nights, January 3rd. Also one of the rare events that actually is open on Christmas Eve and Christmas night. But of course, one of Memphis's most iconic traditions, there are millions of lights that go across a 2-mile stretch throughout the park. It's going to be drive-through on most nights, of course, but they do also offer walk nights, bike nights. They even have the Buffalo Glow race, which is a really cool opportunity to do a little 2-mile run through the park. And then, as you can see, also carriage rides are also an option if you want to make it even that much more magical. But this is a really great one to go to. It is Shelby Farms' largest annual fundraiser, which supports the park for all year. And you can stop on your way in. They have like a hot cocoa stand or coffee. And so you can have that in your car as you drive through the lights. But always love going to Starry Nights.
Yes, I'm right there with you. Starry Nights, we're 2 for 2 right now. Let's keep it going, Jalen.
All right, so next one is Holiday Wonders and Memphis Botanic Garden. This is another great one. I think this is like a really just good. They're all of course very kid friendly, but I just think this one is really kid friendly. The kids are really encouraged to run and play. They have the big backyard which has the snow, and then there's these big light up dots for kids to play around. So it's just really interactive for them, and just fun for the whole family. The parents, you can get a festive cocktail or hot cocoa, apple cider at the entrance, and keep you warm while you walk throughout the gardens. But they have a ton of lights, a lot of festive like photo ops that they've been adding lately. So you can get cute pictures of the kids, or maybe knock out some holiday family photos as well. But they do a great job of having kind of theme nights. You see the fire pits, Santa Sundays. They even have a dog-friendly night, so you can have your pup with you throughout there. Food trucks on the weekends, and this will run November 28th through December 30th.
Love having a nice, tasty beverage, walking through Holiday Wonders, enjoying the holiday season. Really kicks into high gear. 3 for 3. Let's go, Jalen.
All right, now this next one is the oldest holiday display in Memphis. This is Enchanted Forest at the Pink Palace, and this dates back to the 1950s. And so this goes very, full vintage Christmas nostalgia, kind of the feelings that we all remember growing up as kids. You have the festival trees, so a ton of trees decorated. You have Santa photo ops, model trains. The singing reindeer is also a really fun attraction. The gingerbread village is also another one. Again, just really that nostalgic feel. And what I love about this is a really good daytime event. So all the other ones, you need the lights, you need it to be dark. This is something that you can take the kids during the day, and it is open from Tuesdays to Saturdays. It's open already now. It opened on the 15th, and it runs through December 28th. And obviously a key point to this is that it benefits Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. So another good cause.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And my first Christmas here, some 19 years ago, I brought my kids who were very young at the time, and we enjoyed Enchanted Forest for sure. Let's keep it going.
All right, so this one's a little bit different. This one is not one you need admission for, but it is something that I've noticed that a lot of people maybe don't know about, and that is the South Main streetlights. So on the southern end of the South Main neighborhood in downtown, all the buildings are kind of draped with these, very pretty lights that you can just kind of, stroll, walk through, go to different restaurants or bars. I definitely recommend stopping at Zio Amato Gelato. You can get a nice hot cocoa from them, and then kind of just take in the neighborhood glow, and then definitely keep walking up north, and you'll end at the downtown holiday tree. That's right outside of the Majestic Grill, and they will actually have their lighting ceremony this Thursday with a holiday market, free to attend. It runs from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. They'll have free photos with Santa, complimentary hot cocoa, music, and it's just a lot of fun. They've the DMC has done a really good job at elevating this event and making it bigger and better each year. I think last year they had, train rides for the kids. So just a lot of fun to really kick off the holiday season if you haven't yet.
How long has this been going on? Because this is the only one that I haven't been to out of all the ones we're talking about. How long is it? Is it gone a few years?
Yeah, I want to say it's been about 3 or 4. It's definitely something that started in, I think, maybe 2021 in that pandemic time. But yeah, they turned the lights on. They turned them on, I think, actually Halloween night this year. And so it'll run through the holidays. But it's definitely just a really good way to get the downtown looking really festive. And I think one of the most charming parts about South Main.
Well, I'm going to have to do it now that you've said it. So what else we got?
Okay, we have it. Another one. This is really good in downtown. Doesn't cost anything to go to. It's the Peabody, just kind of Christmas experience. They always do just a fabulous job of decorating in there, and it's just it's personally one of my favorite holiday traditions. I love to go to there in the main lobby and have a nice cocktail and just enjoy the warmth of the Peabody. I think it's just the perfect time to visit it during the holidays. They have that big Christmas tree. It's gigantic. They'll do a lighting ceremony on November 28th, which is for hotel guests only. But you'll be able to visit it throughout the holidays any day that they're open, which is every day because it's a hotel. But definitely, get a holiday cocktail. And they also have their own little gingerbread, village display every year. But it's just so warm and Christmassy to me there.
I agree with you. It's definitely a Douglas tradition. In fact, we used to have our Christmas card every year taken in front of that tree for 8 or 9 years. So we love the Peabody year round, but certainly during the holidays, it is outstanding.
Absolutely, yeah. And then, there's so many holiday events too. We have the Beale Street Holiday Parade coming up. That's going to be on December 13th. This will go down Beale Street. And that's at 2 p.m. And we have a full guide that really breaks down all of the individual events alongside these, holiday traditions. So, Thanksgiving is a little bit later this year. So I think people have got to be a little more intentional in making those plans because most of these open up, Friday after Thanksgiving. So you don't want the holidays to pass you by without going to at least a few of these.
No question about it. And the I Love Memphis blog is free for everybody to enjoy and check out and just mark it off. Mark off the different places that you go for your holiday tradition across Memphis. Jalen Suchek on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Thank you for coming on as always. Appreciate the holiday traditions and everything you do throughout the year.
Thanks, Andrew. I guess I'll say happy holidays now. We're just making it official now.
Yes, we are making it official, Jalen. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Andrew Douglas. There is an article that's put up on dailymemphian.com's website, and it has to deal with Shelby County's cash crunch right now. If you haven't been keeping track, they had to borrow money from itself in order to pay I believe a $43 million loan. Let's bring in Daily Memphian reporter Sam Hardiman, who covers politics and local government for the Daily Memphian, joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. So I understand, Sam, that they had to borrow this $43 million, according to your article here. Is this something that we see time and again from the county, or is this an extraordinary large amount that they're dealing with right now? Good morning.
Yeah, so what I would say is it's something, this situation is not uncommon for Memphis, for Shelby County. And what I mean by that is Shelby County government, by the way it collects property taxes, simply because of the way it collects property taxes. Your Shelby County property taxes are delinquent as of February 28th. And they're due technically right now, but they only become delinquent after February 28th. We all know that people, if they don't have to pay something and they're not going to be late, they're going to wait, right? And so Shelby County gets revenue in a very lumpy manner, and so that adds every year to cash flow concerns. This year is a little different because typically the county would just loan itself money from its rainy day account. That's a simple appropriation. It's very easy. But this year, it doesn't have enough money in its rainy day account to really do that. And it also needs, this year, because of its budget issues, it needs special permission from the Tennessee Comptroller's Office regarding the same $43 million loan. So what I would say is, yes, the county's in this position a lot, but this year's a little different.
So let me ask you this, because, a lot of people might look at that and say, well, $43 million, that seems like a lot to you and me, but for the county that has extraordinary budgets, that's not that much. What would you say to that?
No, that's fair. It may not be that much. I mean, the county, if you look at it and you read our article, and please go to our website and read it, municipal finance sells, that's what I've been trying to tell the editors over here, is that the county every month roughly runs about $48 million in expenses in its general fund. So it's a very steady amount of spending. The problem that the county has is it just doesn't get that revenue in a steady way. And so it spends down its cash at the beginning of the fiscal year. And then in the middle of the fiscal year, when people start paying their taxes, they have plenty of cash on hand. And so, yeah, it's not unusual for the county. This is a normal thing. At the same time, because the county's rainy day account is not where it needs to be, this is kind of extraordinary. Not extraordinary, but extraordinary. And so it's something that people should really pay attention to, because this is how your tax dollars are spent. This is really what matters in a lot of ways. This is what every Shelby County is paying for.
I noticed that Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris is someone who's kind of seems to be the default carrying the torch against the Memphis Safe Task Force, against President Trump bringing the National Guard here to the Memphis area, and he's blaming some of that issue, some of the cash flow problems on the Safe Task Force being here. But yet when, according to your article, you tried to reach out to the county to see about expenses when it comes to that, and you hadn't gotten a response. Is it anything else you want to add on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, just for context, I'm not trying to shame the county by putting that response, but the county in its cash flow statements puts an estimate starting in this month, November. Okay, so not September, not October, but November. They're predicting another extra $1.5 million per month in Memphis Safe Task Force expenses. Well, that could be very reasonable. That could make some sense in terms of overtime for sheriff's office personnel, overtime for people at the courts, et cetera. Like, that makes a lot of sense. The county just didn't spell it out when we asked. And so it would be really helpful, I think, to the public if the county would spell out what is you're projecting $1.5 million flat a month for the next 8 months from the Memphis Safe Task Force, which is $12 million in additional spending this year. You didn't budget for that, obviously, because when you passed the budget, the Memphis Safe Task Force didn't exist. Just explain to the public what that money is and what that projection is. And I think it could be really helpful for everyone.
And to your point, these are our tax dollars at work. I mean, we should have the right to know exactly where they're going and what they're funding. When it comes to what they're funding and where exactly that money is going, do we have to wait until budget season before we find out?
We shouldn't. Absolutely not. Why would we have to? I mean, it's a good question, Andrew. I'm not jumping on your question here, but absolutely not. This is public dollars. There should be almost instantaneous transparency with this stuff, right? Like, the county should have nothing to hide, and no one should really have anything to hide with tax dollars. Should be pretty easy. These are public records. Release what you're spending it on. Redact whatever account numbers you need to. Pretty simple.
Agreed. I just know that during budget season, they go line by line oftentimes, and then we find out a lot of things during that whole budget process. But I agree with you. Like, throughout the year, there should be, some sort of link or a FOIA that essentially says, okay, here's the breakdown.
Yeah, or just, simply, and again, I'm not trying to beat up on the county here. If we call and ask and say, hey, like, what's this spending? It really shouldn't be that involved of a process, like we're just asking how large amounts of tax dollars are being spent. It's like that level of transparency should happen all the time because it's easy. It builds public trust, and then we can, not be writing about municipal finance.
Daily Memphian government and politics reporter Sam Hardiman joining us on the Action News 5 digital desk talking about his latest article. Is Shelby County's cash crunch really about the task force? You can read more about it on dailymemphian.com. Anything else before we let you go, Sam?
No. Hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving. And thanks, as always, for having me on, Andrew.
Always good to see you, Sam. I always enjoy our discussions. We appreciate your time. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. During the holiday season, there are so many of us that love to eat. Of course, why not? I mean, it's social, there's parties, there's all kinds of fun, festivities. You're going to have a munch here and there. You're going to be going on and having hors d'oeuvres, having extra appetizers, side dishes, that sort of thing. So how do we prevent ourselves from overeating and gorging ourselves this holiday season? Let's bring in someone to help us through this process. I'm joined on the Action News 5 digital desk by Angie Wallach. She is Associate Professor of Teaching at the College of Health Sciences Nutrition Program. Angie, where do we begin? Where do people get themselves in the most trouble during the holiday season? I guess not having a plan, right? Good morning.
Yes, having a plan is so important. I think during the holidays, food just gets a lot of extra talk, and a lot of people have complicated relationships with food. And so, when I work with clients individually, we kind of really talk through the day before and the day of the meal and look at the timing. I think a lot of people skip breakfast, skip lunch, and then go in. But what happens when we do that, our blood sugar drops. And so then we're ignoring our natural body cues. So when we go to sit down to that big meal of many sides and so forth, we just start eating at a much more rapid pace. And I think it sets people up to feel very uncomfortable after they eat the meal. And so if we can incorporate a breakfast with, some grains, some produce, there's some eggs in it, and have our lunch and snacks depending on, I know a lot of people eat at 2:00. And so, really kind of figuring out what your food kind of needs to look like. That way you can really enjoy the meal. And I know, there's so many options when it comes to Thanksgiving meals of sides. Really pick the ones that you enjoy or that have meaning and memory to them. And just check in with your body and go slow. And, really kind of take a listen to you are the expert of your body. And so your body's going to tell you. Now, if you decide to override your body, that's one thing. But if you try to honor it, I think it'll work out well.
So I like that. So you go into the holiday season, specifically Thanksgiving or Christmas, with a plan and have a meal beforehand, maybe a breakfast, that sort of thing, to just have something in your stomach, and then you are prepared for that big meal and be selective with those side dishes. What else should we really be thinking about just to not overeat this holiday season?
You want to enter in the meal comfortably hungry. And so, having those meals and snacks ready and available. And so the other things, there's a lot of food pushing that happens. So Aunt Susie works really hard making making a dish, and she's like, "Oh, have more, have more." You have the right to say, no, thank you. I feel satisfied right now. But a lot of people like to food push, and it's okay to say no. And that's just part of honoring your boundaries and your body. And so I think using your voice, I think diet culture, and there's a lot of just like diet talk that happens when family members get together and people start making comments on bodies and so forth. And so just kind of have those statements of, no, thank you. I feel full right now. And if they keep pushing, you can just say, well, I'll take some home for later. And yeah, so just a few like things to pull out of your back pocket when it comes to mealtime.
It's so important. I agree with you, Angie. It's so important to be able to say no. I'm going to try and save this for later, or I'll have another day or something, because you're right. You get into this, I don't know if it's peer pressure, but it's certainly family pressure to have more food, what they cook, that sort of thing. I like that a lot. What else can we do to really kind of safeguard ourselves from gorging this holiday season?
Yeah, when I talk to clients in my office, I talk about, what are the priorities of the day when you wake up for Thanksgiving or Christmas and that, and like, what are the big intentions, and, why are we gathering? Food brings people together, and food is tied into so many traditions and cultural aspects. And so we really want to emphasize those things versus just thinking about how we have to pull back. And so, because when we start pulling back, eventually it'll backfire, and then we end up overeating. And so, how can I honor my body today? I want to enjoy the time with my family, if there's family you want to enjoy your time with. And how can I set my day up for success?
What do you think about the idea of maybe trying to do a workout at some point during Thanksgiving?
Yeah, if you typically, move your body in the mornings, then okay. But if you're doing your workout just to compensate for your food, then I am kind of the mindset that's somewhat disordered, because food is not moral, and we don't earn our food. Food is there for nourishment. It's there for enjoyment. And so if you want to do something fun movement wise, do something fun, but don't feel like you have to. Sometimes, you want to watch the Macy's Thanksgiving parade, and that's totally okay instead of going to a turkey trot. So, really just kind of listen to your body on what it needs. Thanksgiving can be a kind of a day to relax for a lot of people too. It's a day off during the week. So I think you just need to really kind of listen to your body, and don't let your own judgment and criticism take the lead.
Okay, Angie Wallach, Associate Professor of Teaching for the College of Health Sciences Nutrition Program. Appreciate your time. Great ideas and mindsets as we enter in the holiday season. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, there is an interesting musical coming to the Orpheum next week. I am talking about a hit Broadway musical. It is called & Juliet. And it's a funny take on the greatest love story ever told, Romeo and Juliet. But this time it asks the question, what would happen if Juliet didn't end it all over Romeo? That's what this musical is all about, and it is going to be here next week in Memphis. I am joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Fabiola Carabello Quisada on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I hope I got your name right, Fabio. Good morning. How are you?
Hi, good morning.
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I just recently graduated high school in May. I grew up in Tyler, Texas, graduated from Tyler Legacy High School. And then a little bit later on in the summer, I won the Jimmy Awards in New York City, the National High School Musical Theater Awards. I had been 3 years in a row at that point, but I was finally able to take the trophy home to my family. And after that, I auditioned for this incredible musical called & Juliet. And I was expecting to go to college. I wasn't really expecting much to get out of this audition. It's just, practice auditioning, doing what I love, And then, I got the opportunity of a lifetime. And, it was an instant plot twist. Now, not going to college anymore, but now we're leading my first national tour, my first professional job ever, and I'm having a blast. It's just such a blessing to be traveling the country, going to all these amazing cities, and just performing with this incredible musical. And yeah, I'm surrounded by the best people and so blessed to be here.
So many people know the story of Romeo and Juliet. Tell me about how this idea came about. I understand it's very funny, very popular right now.
Yes, it sure is. It is written by the writer of Schitt's Creek, David West Reed, and all the music is by the multi-Grammy award-winning producer and songwriter Max Martin. He has written songs for a lot of incredibly famous pop stars that you will all hear in this musical. It's a jukebox musical. You're going to hear Britney Spears, Kelly Clarkson, Katy Perry, Backstreet Boys. There are 3 decades of this music in this musical that are going to have you trying to sing in your seat. But it's a beautiful story. It takes on, what if Juliet hadn't ended it all over Romeo, if that was the beginning of her story. And I play Juliet. I am just so, so blessed to be playing her. She is taking me through so many journeys, so many different journeys. Even every night, I'm learning so much from her. And I think that the audience can learn a lot from her, and as well as all of her friends, all of Juliet's friends. So many characters on stage that all leave a very special message.
I bet. So what has been the reaction? I mean, this is a national tour. You're fresh out of high school. That's unbelievable. Congratulations to you and all of your success. Give me some of the response to the audience to what they're seeing on stage.
Yeah, they've been loving it, really. It's incredible when you're on stage and you hear the audience's reactions. I love it when they recognize a song in the clever way that it is put together within the plot and our characters. When they finally recognize it, they just burst into laughter, or you can tell some people gasp and they're like, wait, and you just feel that energy. And it's a mix of the moment that you first heard these iconic pop songs, and now you're seeing them be played out by these new characters, by these old characters, and it's really incredible. And then at the stage door, those people that you really impact, they come up to you, and I'm seeing the little girls that are coming up to me, and they're just so inspired by what I do on stage, and it just really warms my heart. It's amazing to think that I'm becoming the performer for them that I really needed growing up.
That is wonderful. Tell me about this idea of working. So I know Schitt's Creek, and it's such a funny show over the several years here. I mean, is this something where people are always laughing, they're singing, they're laughing, they're singing? Is that what we can expect?
Yeah, you nailed it, really. It's this dialogue, and this book is one of my absolute favorites. I'm discovering new things about it every night. It's so clever, and it's really, really hilarious. Oh my gosh, you won't have very much time to breathe between laughs. You will be laughing about 5 times a scene. I that's just an understatement.
Well, listen, tell me, have you ever been to Memphis? If you haven't, I would love to hear where you want to go because you're going to be here for a few days, right?
No, I'm so excited to go to Memphis. I've never been. We're staying at a very nice hotel, and it's a very nice area. I'm so excited to look around and have that old timey jazzy feel. I've never been. It's only what I've heard, but I've heard it's a beautiful city, and I'm very thrilled to be there.
Awesome. Well, Fabiola Caraballo Chiara, congratulations on all your success. I tried. And we're so excited to welcome you and the whole cast here to Memphis next week for & Juliet, November 25th through the 30th at the Orpheum. Thanks for coming on the Digital Desk. We appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We always love checking in with our friends all across Memphis and the Mid-South just to kind of get an update on what's going on in the various weeks and months leading up to certain events that are happening. And we are smack dab into the holiday season, and it is here for so many folks, including the city of Germantown. And I'm joined now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by the mayor of Germantown, Mike Palazzolo, joining us once again. So, Mike, I know that we are in the holiday season and there are all kinds of events happening in Germantown. Let's go through some of them this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew, and welcome to Germantown to you and your viewers today. Yes, the holidays are here, and we are ready for them. We have many events on tap throughout the city of Germantown. I've got a list of them, and I might run through them pretty quick. You can visit our website and see all these in detail. But we have our annual City Hall holiday tree lighting event on the 28th. That's Friday from 5 to 7, and it's at City Hall this year. In the past, it's been at Municipal Lake. We'll have a large Christmas tree right on the corner of Germantown Road and Farmington. We can't wait for that. There's so many activities, from roasting marshmallows to the tree lighting. Children can visit Santa inside City Hall that evening. That will couple with several other events during the holiday season. We have our citywide holiday lighting contest. We have pet photos with Santa and the Grinch at City Hall. That's one that's always a favorite of our citizens. They can bring their pet and let their pet ask Santa for some presents this year. We have our Lights on the Farm at the Bobby Lanier Farm Park. That's on December the 6th. Farmington Elementary has Elf Jr., the musical. There's a costume night on the farm at the Bobby Lanier Farm Park. And, of course, our Germantown Holiday Parade on December 13th, Saturday at 2 o'clock. We have close to 100 floats each and every year. It's fun, a favorite for families all throughout Germantown and the entire region. We welcome anyone and all to come visit us in Germantown. We also have our Germantown Symphony Orchestra holiday concert. And one of the best Christmases stories of all, the Madonna Learning Center has their annual G-Pack performance on December 17th and 18th. It always sells out, Andrew. So if you know someone like the mayor, you might be able to get a ticket, but you might want to call early.
I get it. I get it. Yeah, a lot of people love the holidays and certainly checking out different parts of Memphis and the Mid-South and Germantown, the holiday parade, the lighting, so many different events there. But I understand there are some other things that are happening that are not holiday related, but certainly improvements that people of Germantown would like to know about. Tell me about those.
Well, you're exactly right. You know, quality of life is such an important measure here in Germantown, and oftentimes that goes back to our Parks Department, Parks and Recreation. We have two big projects that are underway. The first one is an ongoing project at Riverdale Park. It's close to $2 million reinvestment in that park. It will be giving the park more safety additions, add a parking lot with 80 or so spaces that'll make it convenient for our Riverdale school goers, because that park is next door to Riverdale. So it'll give a nice, safe environment for drop off and pickup at that school. We'll also have pedestrian trails throughout the park, and we'll have 3 additional lighted pickleball courts, which is pretty important in this day and age. Pickleball is sweeping the country. It's not a secret anymore. People from teens to middle age to older residents are playing. So now we'll have 3 pickleball courts there. That's a great park. It has 3 playgrounds, a comfort station, a baseball field, tennis courts, all next to one of our key schools in Germantown. And also we have another park project ongoing at Cameron Brown Bob Haley, where we are adding additional pickleball courts there as well. That park, as many of our residents knows, houses and is the home of Germantown Baseball League, Germantown Football League. We have a fishing lake trail network that connects to our greenway, and now it is pickleball central in Germantown with I think close to 10 courts, and we're finishing up restroom there as well to make that a real amenity for all the folks that play pickleball in Germantown. Those are a couple of the big projects as it relates to quality of life and parks and recreation in our city. We have others as well, but those 2 are ongoing, and we look forward to them being completed in the early spring.
Yeah, mass appeal on the pickleball. There's no question about it. So many people love it, no matter your age or your activity level, I guess you could say. Fantastic. You went through a laundry list of different things happening. Anything else before we let you go, Mike?
Well, let me tell you, Andrew, again, I want to invite all to come to Germantown and shop during the holidays. And I will put this call to action out. We know over the last 6 or 9 months that many of our food pantries have been close to bare. The shelves have been close to bare. So if you give to, and we have our sack ready to take to our local church. If you have a secular or non-secular provider that you like to bring canned goods and non-perishable items, whether that be MIFA or the Mid-South Food Bank, please think of that this holiday season as we make sure that we look out for our neighbors and friends that are in need. And I would just ask the entire region to think about that during the season of giving.
All right, there you go. Mike Palazzolo, Germantown's mayor. We appreciate your time on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Happy holidays to you. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We are in the midst of the holiday season, and I want to show you just a little bit of this. This is Holiday Wonders at Memphis Botanic Garden, a tradition for so many Memphians and Mid-Southerners each and every year, going to Holiday Wonders. And guess what? It is that time of year once again. I'm joined on the Action News 5 digital desk by Jenna Harris. She's going to tell us more about Holiday Wonders. Jenna, I can't believe the year is just flying by, and here we go. We're in the midst of a holiday season. Good morning.
Yeah, I feel like we were just taking the lights down from last year, and now we're putting them all back up and even bigger and more lights and better than ever.
So tell us about this year and the Holiday Wonders, maybe a little bit of history, what goes into it, how long it's been around, and maybe anything new this year.
Yeah, so we've been doing Holiday Wonders in a few different ways for about 20 years now. For about the last 17, it's been in our children's garden, which is my big backyard. And that area has traditionally been called Snowy Nights in my big backyard. And then we expanded a little bit about 8 or 9 years ago, and we expanded into Holiday Wonders, where we went further into the garden, and we have now our rose garden is lit up with our Under the Stars lounge. We have the great lawn is set up with reindeer games, with all kinds of fun activities. But this year we're growing even more. We've added about 4 acres of new installations to this year's show. We'll be going through our woodland, which is going to be a really magical show. We're partnering with a local group called Infinity Stairs, and Infinity Stairs is installing a show that is going to take you essentially into the magic of Christmas. It'll be how does Santa make it from all the different places around the world. So you'll go through a portal into the North Pole that explains all the magic in a really fun and exciting way. And then that's going to loop you back around into our sensory garden here, which we've never incorporated our sensory garden before. But as you can see, we've got this gorgeous crepe myrtle that's kind of the star of the show right out here. And the sensory garden is an enclosed space. So it's a garden that you can get in, and you'll be immersed under all of the lights that are throughout there. So yeah, we're growing. It's a lot bigger and better. We've got some new fun things for the kids. We had our stomp lights. That's one of their favorite things that we have. And then now we're going to have some seesaws and some swings, things that the kids can really engage with and explore. New photo ops. We'll have a gingerbread village in my big backyard. So everybody's favorites that they've come and seen for years and years, and a lot of new stuff to see.
That sounds great. Really amazing. I love seeing the transformations of these different events that are happening at Memphis Botanic Gardens. So tell us when we can bring our families, we can bring our kids, when we can go.
Yeah, so we'll open the day after Thanksgiving. That's our opening night. We'll be open on select weekends from the day after Thanksgiving through December 30th. And tickets will go on sale on the 7th. You can go to our website, membg.org. You can get on there, grab your tickets early. We do have timed entry, and a lot of times those earlier tickets do sell out pretty quick. So make sure you get online, get the date that you want to come, and we look forward to having everybody come out and celebrate the season here at the garden.
How much are tickets, Jenna?
So we have ticket prices are $15 for members, $17 for non-members. But if you wait and you buy on the day of, that's going to be $20. So get those tickets early. You get a little bit of a discount there. There's no charge for parking. Parking is included with that. And then we'll have some sips and snacks. We'll have food trucks here where you can grab a bite to eat while the kids are enjoying the reindeer games area, and grab some hot cocoa and sit down and just enjoy the season with your family.
It's such a tradition for so many people out there. Do you hear that kind of feedback from your perspective?
We do. We have a lot of people that have been coming to this for years and years. And, you know, even if you've been coming for years and years, like I said, there's a lot of new things going on. We also do a lot of specialty nights. New for us this year, one of our specialty nights is going to be Happy Hula Days. So we have a tropical glass house here that we're really proud of, but we're really proud of those plants too. And so we typically don't open that up during Holiday Wonders because those tropical plants don't like the winter chill. But for Happy Hula Days, which is going to be on the 17th this year, you'll get to actually go in and explore the tropical glass house. So kind of like Frosty going into the greenhouse to get warmed up. You can go through there, see that. We'll have a ukulele player out here doing some activities. But there's a lot of different theme nights. We'll have our Snow Queens night where we have Anna and Elsa here. We have a Let It Glow night. We have some glow performers that'll be on site. So, just check it out. Santa's here every Sunday. It's Santa Sundays. We even have a night for our little four-legged friends. So they can come on the 11th, explore, take their picture with Santa, put them in their cute little costumes. We have some extra costumes here if you want to put a Santa hat on your pup. And there's just all kinds of fun nights to come. You can come multiple nights, and then after Christmas, we'll have what we call Afterglow. So at Afterglow, we'll have our fire pits set up. You can come, kind of bring the family, everybody take a minute just to, sit back, relax, think about all the things you did during the holiday season while you're roasting a s'more over a warm fire.
I love it. All right. Well, Jenna Harris, we appreciate your time on the Action News 5 Digital Desk talking about holiday wonders. Going to be bigger and better this year. We can't wait, and it's going to be here before we know it. Appreciate your time as always on the Digital Desk. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for having us.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk, taking a live look outside of our High 5 camera in Midtown Memphis. These are pictures outside of our studios here, and there is some rain out there. It's also very cloudy and just kind of nasty out there. It is warm, though, relatively speaking, 60 degrees as you get going on this Tuesday. 8:01 is the time. I'm Andrew Douglas. Let's get to some of the stories that we are following here before we get to our forecast. And one is about U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi returning to Memphis with one message. The Memphis Safe Task Force is reversing the city's crime trend. Since late September, the task force has arrested more than 3,000 people, including hundreds of known gang members. Also, hundreds of illegal guns have been taken off the streets, and more than 100 missing children have been found. Leaders have called the Memphis Safe Task Force a success, but some protesters don't want the task force here. Memphis State Representative Justin J. Pearson, who is running for Congress, says the task force is costing the community more than it's helping, and that includes overcrowding at the Shelby County Jail. The U.S. Housing and Urban Development Director Scott Turner also announced a new HUD crime hotline. It will be spearheaded in Memphis. He says the hotline should be used to report various criminal activity, including gang activity, sex offenses, and other crimes. New this morning, volunteers with Feed the Needy getting up early, working to pack Thanksgiving boxes for families here in the Mid-South. They began packing boxes at 3 o'clock this morning. They'll be working through noon, putting together enough boxes to help feed more than 3,000 families.
And Thanksgiving is a time when family come together, sit at the table, and they give thanks for the many, many blessings they've had over the years. But this year, a lot of families won't have that opportunity. And what we're doing, we're trying to fill that gap as much as we can to help those who will be blessed to receive one of these food baskets.
We come together with a lot of different organizations like the Memphis Police Department, Shelby County Sheriffs, to put these meals together to feed people across the Mid-South. So these boxes, we have turkey, we have vegetables, we have pie crust, butter. Basically, it's all the things you need to make a great Thanksgiving Day meal so that you can feed at least a family of 4 to 6 and have a great Thanksgiving Day.
What a blessing for so many families across the Mid-South. More than 40 organizations and companies volunteer and work together to produce and distribute these meals and the donations. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is looking into a DeSoto County deputy where there was a scene where he shot someone. It happened about 8:15 last night, Miller Farms Road in Olive Branch. Deputies were responding to a domestic disturbance call when someone pointed a weapon in the direction of deputies. Deputies then shot the person, and after a brief standoff, the person surrendered. Injuries not considered life-threatening. No deputies were hurt in this confrontation. The DeSoto County School Board voicing its support for a bill that would allow local school districts to remove a school board member from office. At last Thursday's meeting, the board overwhelmingly voted to support the reintroduction of House Bill 817, allowing the school board to recommend a member to be removed on several grounds, like misusing their position, failing to do their job, or breach of public trust. The bill was introduced in January, died in committee just last month, though. Board member Michelle Henley was removed from her chairperson's seat. Several parents, community members called for her removal from the board. DA Matthew Barton revealed she wrote a character reference letter for former youth pastor, basketball coach Lindsay Whiteside, who pleaded guilty to child sex charges involving a teenage girl. Henley abstained from that vote last Thursday. Over in Arkansas now, Crittenden County, Arkansas, preteen expected to be okay after he was shot Sunday night in Earl, Arkansas. Crittenden County Sheriff Mike Allen says the 12-year-old was hit in the crossfire on Arkansas Street near Commerce Street and Rogers Road. Investigators arrested Quincy Kegler yesterday afternoon. In connection with the shooting, he's facing multiple charges, including battery and unlawful discharge of a firearm from a vehicle. Tavion White also named as a suspect in the shooting. He remains on the run this morning. Over in West Memphis, Arkansas, they're getting a major upgrade in protection. 4 canine officers will receive new protective gear. They're getting bullet and stab-resistant vests. It's all thanks to a generous donation from the national nonprofit Vested Interest in Canines. The organization has provided more than 6,200 vests to working dogs all across the country. The department says canines will be wearing their new vests in about 10 weeks. American Airlines offering hundreds of flights out of Memphis International. If you plan to travel for the Thanksgiving holiday, the airline announced over the weekend it is offering 313 flights during the holiday travel period. American Airlines provides Memphis International with 39 departures a day to more than 300 destinations. November 30th predicted to be the busiest travel day at Memphis International. The announcement follows the government shutdown that disrupted flights at airports all across the country. A record number of people expected to spend the upcoming Thanksgiving weekend shopping. That's according to the National Retail Federation. Nearly 187 million people plan to shop for Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday, an increase of 3 million shoppers from last year. According to the survey, Black Friday, Cyber Monday will be top shopping days. Top 3 items: clothing, accessories, gift cards, and toys. Tough night for the Memphis Grizzlies. They played them tough, but they lost to the Denver Nuggets, ending a 2-game winning streak. That was all without Ja Morant. They did win 2 games without Ja Morant. Last night, Jaren Jackson Jr. back in the lineup after missing the last couple days with an ankle sprain. Jaren ended with 16 points. Jock Landale led the way with 26 points and 10 boards for the Grizzlies. Jalen Wells had 22 points. Cam Spencer finished with 18, but the Nuggets were just too much. Point guard Jamal Murray put up 29. The Joker, Nikola Jokic, had a triple-double, 17 points, 16 boards, or 16 assists, 10 boards. Nuggets winning the final, 125-115. Next game is a game you can watch here on Action News 5. They will play New Orleans down in New Orleans. The Pelicans, they will take on them tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, and you can watch it right here on Action News 5. Friendly reminder about the Action News 5 Holiday Food Drive benefiting Kroger and the Mid-South Food Bank. Scan the QR code for more details about donations. You can also give directly. Second, you can also round up at the register the next time you're in the Kroger checkout line. Round up the cost of your purchase. That money will go to the Mid-South Food Bank, servicing 31 counties across our 3 Mid-South states. And then December 3rd, drop off donations in person at several Kroger locations. Again, scan that QR code for more details. Let's get an update on the forecast with meteorologist Patrick Ellis.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Tuesday, of course, we were dealing with rain and storms through the course of your Monday. And in the wake of those rain and storms, we ended up with some gusty winds. Actually, a lot of these gusts that you see here, these actually came after the rain came to an end. What we call a wake low. Basically, as these storms were racing out towards the east, there was a vacuum that was being created behind that, and it created a big surge of wind. And that's why we had some wind gusts over 45 miles per hour, nearing 50 here officially at Memphis International, 49, 47 in Tunica, 39 mile per hour wind gusts there in Mariana across the river. And again, you got 40 plus mile per hour wind gusts. It says 19 here in West Memphis. I think actually the wind gusts got up to 37, but it was prior to midnight. A lot of these gusts here came after midnight, early this morning. And you notice again another big gust of wind around Jackson, Tennessee, up about 40, 45 miles per hour there. Now, the winds have died down considerably and will likely stay that way throughout the course of the day. A lot of clouds, some mist, some drizzle here to start off the day. Temperatures will be very slow to climb, and they won't climb all that much, only to the mid 60s here today. There could be a little bit of sunshine on the back end of it, but don't bank on a lot. The clouds will clear more so tonight into the early hours of your Wednesday. Outside of maybe some banks of fog early on Wednesday, sunshine to return, brighter skies here as we head towards your Thanksgiving and into Black Friday as well. Obviously, cooler weather moving into the fold, below average for this time of the year, but it's not the coldest weather that we've ever seen. If you got plans to be out and about here regionally on Thursday for Thanksgiving, a high near 50 here, Memphis, 55 Little Rock, 61 in Shreveport, Louisiana, about 60 in Jackson, Mississippi, mid 50s Birmingham, Alabama, upper 50s Montgomery, in the 40s out towards Knoxville and Nashville, upper 30s in Cincinnati, St. Louis, about 40, 41 degrees in Kansas City, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, about 54 degrees. But see, notice a lot of sunshine. That's the good news. So Thanksgiving regionally looks to be pretty great. And when we break it down hour by hour for us here in the Mid-South, it's looking great as well. Upper 40s to near 50 degrees, lots of sunshine, a light northwesterly breeze coming in around 5 to 10 miles per hour. I do want to give you a first alert, though. This green area here outlining the potential for heavy rain in the next 3 to 7 days. And of course, as we go past today, obviously the next rain chances, when will that be? That looks to be as we head towards the upcoming weekend. A first alert to some periods of heavy rainfall that will likely come rolling through here late Saturday night into early Sunday. And notice, for the first time this season, some blue, some pink on that map. And that's giving us some indication that the colder air is trying to drop southward. I think it's kind of fool's gold at this point if you try to think that that's going to make its way all the way to Memphis. But, you know, when it comes down to it, as this colder air locks itself into place and there will be some moisture trying to move up across the area, there's some question marks in the extended range that could have some implications nearby. Maybe not us here in the Mid-South, but maybe nearby Cape Girardeau, Poplar Bluff, Paducah, Carbondale. Those areas may be tangling with some wintry precipitation not terribly far off down the road. In our area, as we get this rainmaker to move into our neck of the woods, we'll start off with Friday morning, give you a first alert to sunshine on Black Friday to at least start off the day. The clouds thicken up through the afternoon hours. Here come the rain showers, but notice most of them still west of the Action News 5 coverage area Saturday morning. If you are traveling northbound, just understand that there's probably going to be a couple of things. There might be a little bit of snow and sleet north of Cape Girardeau heading up towards St. Louis during the morning hours on Saturday. We'll switch over to rain and then a backfill of some snowflakes Sunday morning as the whole system moves off towards the east. There's a little bit of a lull, but there's another system that looks to be looming in the distance that will take us into the early portions of next week. So yet another system likely to have impact on us as we head towards Monday, Tuesday of next week. That could have some implications from the standpoint of rain showers here locally, but you know, again, regionally may have some wintry impacts in some instances. There's also some indication that we would run cooler here as well. I'm not going as cold as some of the guidance currently is located at because there is a large spread in guidance. If you look at one model today, it's in the 60s for highs on Monday, while other models are in the 30s for highs. So there's a large spread in temperature. So we're kind of taking the middle road there for the extended forecast here. Good news is that as we head towards the mid and latter portion of next week, we start to come out of the unsettled pattern, but there's still going to be some inklings of an unsettled pattern that will quickly flip and flop as we head into next week. So there will be some indication occasionally of some colder air intrusion with maybe some moisture nearby. The question mark is, how does it play out? In the short term, though, hey, we'll still deal with some spritz and sprinkles here this morning. We'll deal with breezier conditions, but at least brighter conditions for your Wednesday. Thanksgiving looking great. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s early on Black Friday. We'll see sunshine early on. The clouds thickening up for Friday evening. Here comes the rain, but it will hold off until after lunchtime on Saturday night into Sunday. That's when we have the best chances for rain. A little bit of a lull before the next system loads up here as we head towards the latter half of Monday into Tuesday.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I want to show you this. This is some of the events, some of the people that are going to be a part of a major benefit concert that's happening in just a little bit. Right around the corner, you see there Bobby Rush, there's Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and a host of others, and it's all in an effort to protect the Memphis Aquifer. There you can see Acoustic Sunday Live presenting the concert to protect our aquifer with Shamika Copeland, Bobby Rush, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and a host of others. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. One of the organizers, Bruce Newman, joining me now to talk more about this concert. Bruce, good morning to you. Tell me about the idea behind this concert and some of the reasons and how you were able to get all of these artists together for this. Good morning.
Well, thanks for having me. Essentially, the concert series has been running in Memphis for about 30 years. It's benefited different organizations, and for the last 7 or 8 years, we decided to move the beneficiary organization to protect our aquifer, an organization that's been 10 years in the making, and as you know, started out trying to keep the oil pipeline out of Memphis in areas that were, Orange Mound and Boxtown. We were successful, and in the last 7 years, we've been just trying to watch our water, keeping it clean. In my daily work as an entertainment attorney, I just call on clients and friends to come to Memphis to do this great work. And so we've been able to gather these amazing people. Shamika Copeland, Grammy nominee, Bobby Rush. We don't have to say more about Bobby. Bobby just completed a Grammy-nominated record with Kenny Wayne. It's going to be fun to see them acoustically. Alice Howe and Freebo. Freebo was the bass player for Bonnie Raitt. And James McMurtry, a well-known folk artist, along with Eric Lewis, our own Eric Lewis and Jimmy Davis, opening. So we do it every year at First Congregational Church, and all the proceeds are to benefit Protect Our Aquifer.
So tell me about First Congregational Church in terms of a concert forum, because this is off of Cooper Street here in the Midtown area. Tell me more about that.
Well, First Congo, is certainly one of the most welcoming places. It does amazing things for the city, especially in the Midtown area. And when we went to them or asked them 7 years ago, they said, Bruce, that there isn't a better fit as to what you're trying to do and what we're trying to do, which is essentially help Memphis, and certainly in this case, helping the Memphis aquifer. And so they just welcome us, and we really set up their worship space in a concert like setup. So it really works. We usually have 400 to 500 people. Tickets are selling well, obviously, because of the bill. So we encourage people just to go to acousticsundaylive.com and get your tickets.
Tell me more about how much tickets are and why there is this benefit to protect the aquifer. Is this money going towards efforts to advertise? Tell me exactly where the money's going.
Sure. Tickets start at $50, and of course, sponsorships, they can go up to $1,000 if you have a business and you want to be a part of this. You should know that Huey's, our great neighbor here in Midtown, is one of our main sponsors. As an example, they should get credit for that. But as far as why we do this and how the proceeds are used, that's clear. Things like keeping the water issues more to Memphis's benefit on the new AI facility downtown. Those things we do, for example, paying legal fees to push back, or educating Memphis citizens about the water. It's an organization that pushes back on folks coming in and drilling into our aquifer or using our water for industrial purposes, which we don't mind that. We want business to come into Memphis, but we want people to use our water and our electricity and all our utilities that we need in a responsible manner.
Okay, well, Bruce, I appreciate your time on the digital desk. Sounds like an amazing event you have on Sunday night, December 7th, the concert to protect our aquifer with a host of people that are going to be there. Great names in a very intimate setting. I love it. Final thoughts before we let you go, Bruce.
Well, acousticsundaylive.com is the ticket click, and water is not a political issue. We all need water to live, to keep ourselves clean, et cetera, et cetera. It speaks for itself. So we encourage people to go to acousticsundaylive.com, be part of the solution. And thanks for having me.
You got it. Okay. All right. Bruce Newman joining me on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Acoustic Sunday Live. Great event that's happening Sunday evening, December 7th at First Congregational Church on Cooper Street. Bruce, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Are you in the holiday spirit yet? Certainly, there are so many different areas across Memphis and the Mid-South that'll get you in the holiday spirit. Memphis Botanic Garden being one of them. They got holiday wonders going on, but they also have another 21 and up event that's happening during the holidays, and it promises to be, once again, a great event for all those couples out there. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Carly Zamora. She is the adult coordinator of various events there at Memphis Botanic Garden. And Carly, I remember this from last year. So good, and just in time for the holidays, right? Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it is perfect time for the holidays. Hopefully you don't mind that I brought some friends along that I think kind of fit the holiday spirit. you'll be able to come out and see at the garden. We're really excited for it. Honestly, we've been setting up for, I would say, months. It's probably months at this point with all of our different holiday lights. We are so excited, and I am in particular excited about our 21 plus event you were telling us about.
Yeah, so Holiday Wonders, I know that's set to open. I think it's already available now for people, right? And then the holiday is set for in a couple of weeks. Tell me about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are currently setting up and finishing up all of our lights that we have going on. Our very first night of Holiday Wonders is going to take place this Saturday after Thanksgiving. So that way you can kind of get all your fall, your Thanksgiving out of the way, switch gears, really get excited for Christmas and the holidays. And then on December 4th, which is a Thursday, we have Holiday Night. So this is a 21 plus event that's going to take place from 6:30 to 9. So since it's a weekday, we wanted to make sure people had time to get off of work, get into some comfy, warm clothes, and come out to the event. Like I said, it'll be 6:30 to 9 on Thursday, December 4th. And that's going to include a lot of events at the garden. So not only will you be able to come see our holiday light show, right now in particular, I'm in our My Big Backyard Children's area, which is really fun. It's going to be themed out with a lot of candy and gingerbread and tons of lights. You're also going to be able to walk around and with your ticket, get 4 themed cocktails that we're super excited about. Each one is going to be a different theme for the area that it is in. Guests are going to be able to walk around, explore our new area as well. So this is our first year that we've expanded our footprint, and we're going to have it bigger and better than we've had before. We're actually including all of our woodland area, which is going to be an entire experience set up to lights and music. It's going to have a mix of nostalgia for our 90s kids. It's going to have bright, colorful lights. That will also have its own specialty cocktail that'll have a glow to it. So it's all going to be themed out. We're really excited about that. That is going to be one of the aspects. The other one is going to be the fun, crafty corner that we have along with it. So to get in the spirit of the holidays, we're also going to have some wreath making. So we'll have, with your ticket purchase, you'll be available to purchase a greenery wreath or a grapevine wreath. And we'll have the works set up. We'll have different fresh greenery that we cut here from the garden available for your wreaths. You'll have different berries to put in it, bows. That way, not only are you getting to come walk around and enjoy, you're also able to take something home with you, which for me, 4 cocktails, a craft, something I can take home, and a really nice evening, it sounds like bang for your buck.
Yeah, I mean, you throw in a fat guy in a red suit, you almost have Christmas there, Carly Zamora, there on the Memphis Botanic Garden. So tell me about last year and being able to go to these different parts of the garden, experience the holiday wonders, and sipping on a cocktail with your favorite person.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of in comparison to how we did things last year, we really wanted to keep the price the same. So for members, it's $35. For non-members, it's $45. We really take into value not only what you're paying to come see the lights, but what you're getting out of it as well. So this year, like we were saying, last year was nice and fun and we had some good times. However, this year, whole new bag. Not only do we have brand new lights set up, like I said, that expanded footprint, which is going to add a good 15-20 minutes to your experience in the garden. You're also going to have the craft like you did last year, but this year it's more customizable. You have more options. So not only are we trying to add value for the same ticket prices last year, we're trying to, again, entice you with maybe you want to come have a nice drink, a good cocktail. So we've upgraded from 3 cocktails as part of your ticket to 4. So everything this year, we're keeping the price similar / the same, but we are expanding upon what you already love, what you know about Holiday Night. And the fun thing is even though it's called Holiday Night, this is not just for couples. This is for friend groups that want to come out and have a good time. This is for parents and partners. It is for everybody over 21 plus that really wants to come out and experience the holiday show. And even though I myself do love kids, it's kind of nice to be able to walk around and take your own pace and have adults that are also just really leisurely laying back and seeing the lights. It's honestly a really good time.
That sounds fantastic. Okay, so anything else you want to mention about this great night that's happening December 4th, holiday night for everyone 21 and up?
Yeah, absolutely. So, any information that you're looking for about our event, the Holiday Night or Holiday Wonders, you can find on our website at membg.org. There you'll find our events calendar that'll give you every night that we have the holiday lights or holiday wonders. With those holiday wonders, we'll have specialty nights. So maybe you're not looking for a 21 plus event, but we also have events that have snow queens. We have some princesses that'll be walking around. We have specialty nights that will have Santa for him to be able to come take pictures with you. We have a dog night as well. We've had people ask about bringing their animals, and this is the perfect opportunity to bring your pups, your pets, be able to get a photo with Santa, put it on your Christmas card. So we have all thing holidays in December we're really excited about.
Getting us in the holiday season. All right, Carly Zamora, the adult program coordinator there, education coordinator at Memphis Botanic Garden. Thanks again for coming on the digital desk. Going to be a fun time with Holiday Wonders and Holiday Night December 4th. We appreciate your time. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm joined right now by my friend and yours, Dr. Talisa Franklin, on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Talisa, before we get into your segment, I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite side dish for Thanksgiving?
Macaroni and cheese.
Yes,
I
yes.
cannot wait to eat good macaroni and
I
cheese. It needs
know.
to be
I
really, really
cannot
cheesy.
wait. I'm with you on that. I'm a sweet potato casserole kind of guy. I love that stuff. It's like dessert.
Hey, it's good. So what I do, even with my candy yams and sweet potato, I mix a little of the cheese with it, and it be a combination dish, and it's super good.
Yes, I mean the sweet and savoriness of the Thanksgiving meal is the best. Wow.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. All right. So what's happening in your world, Talisa?
Oh my, first of all, happy Thanksgiving week to everybody, y'all. I love you. And I really, really do. My world is always trying to make sure we have something to do and finding all the great stuff. And so just like that, we're doing it again, y'all. So let me tell y'all what's happening on this Friday night. It's time to laugh, laugh, and laugh some more, right? So after you get through with that family Thanksgiving meal, go out and let's support Black Friday Comedy Show. It is going to have celebrity. Oh my goodness. And y'all already know he is like super duper funny. And this is actually put on by Lank the King. He's actually from Memphis. And I love how you always come back to Memphis to bring us great stuff. And so after we having all the fun on Thanksgiving, I challenge you all, let's support the Black Friday Comedy Show with Lank the King. You see all the information, or you can always go to my page, any one of my pages, and get more information. And it's going to be really, really funny, y'all. So let's get out there Friday. And then on Saturday morning is the Strong Man Conference. I don't know about you, but there are so many obstacles and challenges many of our men are facing now. But I believe in this season, the Strongman Conference will be a great day for men for a day of fellowship and networking. I'm super excited for Pastor Thurman Denton. He's a man that's always on the ground trying to help our men. Prophet Gerald Coleman, my apostolic covering. Of course, he's going to be there. And then Pastor Eric Scrubs. And then, of course, actor Omar Gooden is going to be back that Saturday to hang out with the brothers. Of course, the promoter Lank the King. Always love the word. that Pastor Bartholomew Orr is doing in our city to make a difference in our community. And so it's a Strong Man Conference. It's going to be in their Memphis campus at Brown Missionary Baptist Church, the Whitehaven campus. 4800 Elvis Presley. It is absolutely free. And so, fellas, while we out shopping on Saturday, because you know we're going to be shopping all weekend, why don't you get with the fellas and get with your son and go to the Strong Man Conference? It's absolutely free, and you'll have a really good time and preferably walk away with some best practice and some tools from other men to make you a better man, or maybe you can make another man a better man. So the Strong Man Conference, I'm encouraging all of our men to get out there because our men have the opportunity to lead, especially right now. We see so many challenges that's happening with our young boys in our community. And I do believe if we have a strong man community, we can literally change it. So I support this wholeheartedly. It's for men. So, of course, I won't be there, but I want y'all to be there. All right. If you're a man, be there on this Saturday morning. And then, mommies, and you could take the children and other family members to Hickory Hill Compassion Grill and give. Y'all, this is super dope, right? Commissioner Miska Clay Bibbs absolutely love her heart for the Hickory Hill community. She has a big heart for that community. So she's always pulling in quality community partners to pull off something great for that community. And so on this Saturday, y'all, they're going to start out with the Hickory Hill, the parade, and then they're going to end it up with the Compassion Grill and give right there at the New Direction Christian Church by none other than Pastor Stacy Spencer. 6120 Winchester, y'all. Listen, Cedric Turner, y'all know we love those Checkers burgers. Well, y'all, he comes out and bring it out free for our community. Who doesn't love a business that don't believe in giving back? And then we all love Dr. Tanya Lyons. I said, girl, you are feeding Hickory Hill because she's always having a great initiative. And so this is going to be a great opportunity to spare love, get a free meal, get away with food bags for your holidays. And this is just another great time to how we as a community, Andrew, we pull together at all costs. And so I just want to say shout out to Commissioner Miss Clay Bibbs, Dr. Tanya Lyons, and Cedric Turner, and the entire team, Lynn and everybody that pulls this event off to make sure we have something quality in Hickory Hill. So I'm telling y'all, there's something going on in Hickory Hill. There's something going on in Whitehaven. There's always something going on in Bluff City. And listen, you know the beauty of it? Everything don't cost. It just takes your time. Come out and get empowered and be a blessing. Let's run the holiday cheer in together. Because y'all, we family. We really are family.
Yes, we are. Amen to that. Have a great Thanksgiving holiday weekend, Talisa. We love you so much. Take care.
I want to say this, Andrew, to
Yeah.
everybody that wished me a happy birthday. Let me tell you, Andrew, I felt so loved and appreciated this whole week. Y'all, either you came out to my birthday
Yeah.
bash with the homeless on Sunday. It was super fantastic. If you just wish me happy birthday, because I know I can't say thank you individually. So can I say thank you from my heart to everybody? Thank y'all for loving me on my birthday. That's all I had to say, Andrew.
You know, the thing is, it's like you give so much, and, you know, when you give so much, you get that back. And you certainly did on Sunday and over the weekend, and we love it, and we love showcasing everything that you do for Memphis and the Mid-South. Talisa, thanks.
Thank you.
Another live look from our high five camera on this beautiful, beautiful inside, but it is beautiful. Maybe tomorrow it'll be beautiful. Thursday, certainly. Let's talk about your forecast in 1 minute on Action News 5's Digital Desk.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Tuesday. Of course, we were dealing with rain and storms through the course of your Monday, and in the wake of those rain and storms, we ended up with some gusty winds. Actually, a lot of these gusts that you see here, these actually came after the rain came to an end, what we call a wake low. Basically, as these storms were racing out towards the east, there was a vacuum that was being created behind that, and it created a big surge of wind, and that's why we had some wind gusts over 45 miles per hour, nearing 50 here officially at Memphis International, 49, 47 in Tunica, 39 mile per hour wind gusts there in Mariana across the river. And again, you got 40 plus mile per hour wind gusts. It says 19 here in West Memphis. I think actually the wind gusts got up to 37, but it was prior to midnight. A lot of these gusts here came after midnight, early this morning. And you notice again another big gust of wind around Jackson, Tennessee, up about 40, 45 miles per hour there. Now, the winds have died down considerably and will likely stay that way throughout the course of the day. A lot of clouds, some mist, some drizzle here to start off the day. Temperatures will be very slow to climb, and they won't climb all that much, only to the mid 60s here today. There could be a little bit of sunshine on the back end of it, but don't bank on a lot. The clouds will clear more so tonight into the early hours of your Wednesday. Outside of maybe some banks of fog early on Wednesday, sunshine to return, brighter skies here as we head towards your Thanksgiving and into Black Friday as well. Obviously, cooler weather moving into the fold, below average for this time of the year, but it's not the coldest weather that we've ever seen. If you got plans to be out and about here regionally on Thursday for Thanksgiving, a high near 50 here in Memphis, 55 Little Rock, 61 in Shreveport, Louisiana, about 60 in Jackson, Mississippi, mid 50s Birmingham, Alabama, upper 50s Montgomery, in the 40s out towards Knoxville and Nashville, upper 30s in Cincinnati, St. Louis, about 40, 41 degrees in Kansas City, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, about 54 degrees. But see, notice a lot of sunshine. That's the good news. So Thanksgiving regionally looks to be pretty great. And when we break it down hour by hour for us here in the Mid-South, it's looking great as well. Upper 40s to near 50 degrees, lots of sunshine, a light northwesterly breeze coming in around 5 to 10 miles per hour. I do want to give you a first alert, though. This green area here outlining the potential for heavy rain in the next 3 to 7 days. And of course, as we go past today, obviously the next rain chances, when will that be? That looks to be as we head towards the upcoming weekend. A first alert to some periods of heavy rainfall that will likely come rolling through here late Saturday night into early Sunday. And notice, for the first time this season, some blue, some pink on that map. And that's giving us some indication that the colder air is trying to drop southward. I think it's kind of fool's gold at this point if you try to think that that's going to make its way all the way to Memphis. But, you know, when it comes down to it, as this colder air locks itself into place and there will be some moisture trying to move up across the area, there's some question marks in the extended range that could have some implications nearby. Maybe not us here in the Mid-South, but maybe nearby Cape Girardeau, Poplar Bluff, Paducah, Carbondale. Those areas may be tangling with some wintry precipitation not terribly far off down the road. In our area, as we get this rainmaker to move into our neck of the woods, we'll start off with Friday morning, give you a first alert to sunshine on Black Friday to at least start off the day. The clouds thicken up through the afternoon hours. Here come the rain showers, but notice most of them still west of the Action News 5 coverage area Saturday morning. If you are traveling northbound, just understand that there's probably going to be a couple of things. There might be a little bit of snow and sleet north of Cape Girardeau heading up towards St. Louis during the morning hours on Saturday. It will switch over to rain, and then a backfill of some snowflakes Sunday morning as the whole system moves off towards the east. There's a little bit of a lull, but there's another system that looks to be looming in the distance that will take us into the early portions of next week. So yet another system likely to have impact on us as we head towards Monday, Tuesday of next week. That could have some implications from the standpoint of rain showers here locally, but you know, again, regionally may have some wintry impacts in some instances. There's also some indication that we would run cooler here as well. I'm not going as cold as some of the guidance currently is located at because there is a large spread in guidance. If you look at one model today, it's in the 60s for highs on Monday, while other models are in the 30s for highs. So there's a large spread in temperature. So we're kind of taking the middle road there for the extended forecast here. Good news is that as we head towards the mid and latter portion of next week, we start to come out of the unsettled pattern, but there's still going to be some inklings of an unsettled pattern that will quickly flip and flop as we head into next week. So there will be some indication occasionally of some colder air intrusion with maybe some moisture nearby. The question mark is, how does it play out? In the short term, though, hey, we'll still deal with some spritz and sprinkles here this morning. We'll deal with breezier conditions, but at least brighter conditions for your Wednesday. Thanksgiving looking great. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s early on Black Friday. We'll see sunshine early on. The clouds thickening up for Friday evening. Here comes the rain, but it will hold off until after lunchtime on Saturday night into Sunday. That's when we have the best chances for rain. A little bit of a lull before the next system loads up here as we head towards the latter half of Monday into Tuesday.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I want to show you this. This is what looks like a drone configuration in the sky. And if you're familiar, over the last several years, you've seen drones come up with various configurations in the sky, whether it's holiday season, whether it's St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, perhaps it's another celebration. You see hundreds of drones out there creating and illuminating the sky with beautiful configurations. It's really awesome to see. Joining me on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, I'm joined by Alex Harris. She is a special events coordinator for the city of Lakeland. And Lakeland is about to have, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, that the first ever Christmas drone light show. Is that right? And tell me about it. Good morning.
Correct. Good morning. So we're having the first ever West Tennessee Christmas drone show. There've been others, but West Tennessee is hosting the first Christmas drone show. It's by Scout Elements Drones. It'll be on November 29th. It's following our tree lighting, so we'll have the LES Glee Club and the high school choir perform, and then the mayor will light the tree, and then you'll see that spiral Christmas tree light up right behind him in the background with drones starting immediately after that. The event kicks off at 5 o'clock that night. And there is actually a parade earlier in the day at 2 o'clock.
Fantastic. So what are we looking at here? These are drones in the sky just creating various designs, right?
Correct. So the drone show we have set is 250 drones for each scene, and there's 12 scenes, so around maybe 18 minutes of drones in the sky creating those scenes that you kind of see there on the screen.
Wow, okay. Did you say 250 drones at one time? What goes into coordinating something like that? That sounds like a lot of coordination.
So we hired a company to do that part, but it's GPS coordinated, and they all are synced to go up and set to that scene depending on what it is. There's Christmas trees, there's snowflakes, there's a little elf waving, a bunch of fun things that the kids will all love.
Oh, I love it. I mean, hey, look, this is interesting for adults as well. I mean, I love seeing those things in the sky. I saw something similar not too long ago at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. They had a big display just showing St. Jude and the logo and various things. So it's really special to see because, you know, anytime you get 250 drones in the air doing something coordinated like that is pretty special indeed. But when it comes to the city of Lakeland and when it comes to you guys doing this, this is really going to kick off the holiday season in Lakeland, is it not?
Yes, it is. So it's part of our Christmas tree lighting, which we do every year. We'll have Santa will be in the parade, and then we'll also do pictures with Santa. And then we have cookies and hot chocolate sponsored by Carrington Oaks, as well as food trucks on site and balloon animal artists crafts, things for the kids to do, all kinds of fun stuff.
Fantastic. Okay, so if someone wants to learn more about it, how they can bring out the family, check it out, is there a place online where they can get all the details?
Yeah, the best place to go is to go to the City of Lakeland Facebook page, and you'll see the drone show as one event and the parade as another event, and all the details are there. But if you have additional questions, you can always email us events@lakelandtn.org.
Okay, Alexandra Harris, City of Lakeland, with a big Christmas drone light show, the West Tennessee's first ever Christmas drone light show coming to Lakeland November 29th. Thanks for coming on the digital desk and telling us about it, and happy holidays to you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. Taking a live look outside from our High 5 camera downtown Memphis. 60 degrees, 8:49. I'm Andrew Douglas. That is the downtown skyline on a cloudy and wet Tuesday morning. We'll talk more about your forecast coming up in just a little bit, but first we want to get to some of the top stories that we are following at this hour, and we begin with U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi returning to Memphis with one message. The Memphis Safe Task Force is reversing the city's crime trend. Since late September, the task force has arrested more than 3,000 people, including hundreds of known gang members. Also, hundreds of illegal guns have been taken off the streets, and more than 100 missing children have been found. Leaders have called the Memphis Safe Task Force a success, but there were some protesters yesterday that didn't want the Memphis Safe Task Force here. Memphis State Representative Justin J. Pearson, who is running for Congress, says the task force is costing the community more than it's helping, and that includes overcrowding at the Shelby County Jail. The U.S. Office of Housing and Urban Development, the director, Scott Turner, also announced a new HUD crime hotline. This hotline will be spearheaded in Memphis. He said it should be used to report various criminal activity, including gang activity, sex offenses, and other crimes. Let's talk about Feed the Needy. That is something that's new this morning. The volunteers from Feed the Needy got up early. They started packing Thanksgiving food boxes for families here in the Mid-South at 3 o'clock this morning. And they'll be working through the noon hour, putting together enough food boxes to help more than 3,000 families.
And Thanksgiving is a time when family come together, sit at the table, and they give thanks for the many, many blessings they've had over the years. But this year, a lot of families won't have that opportunity. And what we're doing, we're trying to fill that gap as much as we can to help those who will be blessed to receive one of these food baskets.
We come together with a lot of different organizations like the Memphis Police Department, Shelby County Sheriffs, to put these meals together to feed people across the Mid-South. So these boxes, we have turkey, we have vegetables, we have pie crust, butter. Basically, it's all the things you need to make a great Thanksgiving Day meal so that you can feed at least a family of 4 to 6 and have a great Thanksgiving Day.
Okay, more than 40 organizations and companies volunteer to work together to produce and distribute these donations. Let's talk about DeSoto County right now, where the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is looking into a DeSoto County situation where a deputy shot someone 8:15 last night, Miller Farms Road in Olive Branch. Deputies were responding to a domestic disturbance call when someone pointed a weapon in the direction of deputies. Deputies then shot that person. After a brief standoff, that person then surrendered. The injury is not considered life-threatening. No deputies were hurt either.
All in favor?
DeSoto County School Board voicing concern and support for a bill that would allow local school districts to remove a school board member from office. At last Thursday's meeting, the board overwhelmingly voted to support the reintroduction of House Bill 817. It would allow school board to recommend a member be removed on several grounds like misusing their position, failing to do their job, or a breach of public trust. The bill was introduced in January. It died in committee. Just last month, board member Michelle Henley was removed from her chairperson seat. Several parents, community leaders called for her removal after DA Matthew Barton revealed she wrote a character reference letter for former youth pastor, basketball coach Lindsay Whiteside, who pleaded guilty to child sex charges against a teenage girl. Henley abstained from the vote last Thursday. To Arkansas now, where a 12-year-old was injured and is expected to be okay after a shooting Sunday night in Earle, Arkansas. Crittenden County Sheriff Mike Allen says the 12-year-old was hit in the crossfire, Arkansas Street near Commerce Street and Rogers Road. He's facing, the investigators have arrested Quincy Kegler in connection to the shooting. He is facing multiple charges, including battery and unlawful discharge of a firearm vehicle. Tavion White also named as a suspect. He remains on the run this morning. New vests for canine officers in West Memphis, Arkansas. 4 different canines will receive new protective gear. They're bullet and stab resistant vests. It's thanks to a generous donation from the national nonprofit Vested Interest in Canines. It's provided more than 6,200 vests to working dogs across the country. The department says the canines will be wearing their new vests in about 10 weeks. American Airlines adding hundreds of flights out of Memphis International if you plan to travel the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. It announced that over the weekend, 313 flights during the travel period. American Airlines usually provides about 39 departures a day to more than 300 destinations. November 30th expected to be the busiest travel day at Memphis International. Grizzlies lost a tough one last night to the Denver Nuggets, ending their 2-game winning streak. Ja Morant still out with a calf strain, but last night Jaren Jackson Jr. was back in the lineup after missing the last couple games with an ankle sprain. Jaren ended with 16 points. Jock Landale led the way with 26 points and 10 boards. Jalen Wells had 22 points. Cam Spencer finished with 18. The Nuggets, though, were just too much. Point guard Jamal Murray ended up with 29 points, and the Joker, Nikola Jokic, had a triple-double, 17 points, 16 assists, 10 boards. Nuggets win the final 125-115. The next game is a game you can watch right here on Action News 5 when the Grizzlies head to New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. Let's talk one more time about the Action News 5 Holiday Food Drive benefiting Kroger and the Mid-South Food Bank. Scan this QR code for more details. You can also round up at the register the cost of your purchase. That money goes to the Mid-South Food Bank, servicing 31 counties across our 3 Mid-South states. And then December 3rd, you can drop off donations at several Kroger locations. Let's get an update on the forecast with meteorologist Patrick
Joining
Ellis.
us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Tuesday. Of course, we were dealing with rain and storms through the course of your Monday, and in the wake of those rain and storms, we ended up with some gusty winds. Actually, a lot of these gusts that you see here, these actually came after the rain came to an end, what we call a wake low. Basically, as these storms were racing out towards the east, there was a vacuum that was being created behind that, and it created a big surge of wind, and that's why we had some wind gusts over 45 miles per hour, nearing 50 here officially at Memphis International, 49, 47 in Tunica, 39 mile per hour wind gusts there in Mariana across the river. And again, you got 40 plus mile per hour wind gusts. It says 19 here in West Memphis. I think actually the wind gusts got up to 37, but it was prior to midnight. A lot of these gusts here came after midnight early this morning. And you notice again, another big gust of wind around Jackson, Tennessee, up about 40, 45 miles per hour there. Now, the winds have died down considerably and will likely stay that way throughout the course of the day. A lot of clouds, some mist, some drizzle here to start off the day. Temperatures will be very slow to climb, and they won't climb all that much, only to the mid-60s here today. There could be a little bit of sunshine on the back end of it, but don't bank on a lot. The clouds will clear more so tonight into the early hours of your Wednesday. Outside of maybe some banks of fog early on Wednesday, sunshine to return, brighter skies here as we head towards your Thanksgiving and into Black Friday as well. Obviously, cooler weather moving into the fold, below average for this time of the year, but it's not the coldest weather that we've ever seen. If you got plans to be out and about here regionally on Thursday for Thanksgiving, a high near 50 here, Memphis, 55 Little Rock, 61 in Shreveport, Louisiana, about 60 in Jackson, Mississippi, mid 50s, Birmingham, Alabama, upper 50s, Montgomery, in the 40s out towards Knoxville and Nashville, upper 30s in Cincinnati, St. Louis, about 40, 41 degrees in Kansas City, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, about 54 degrees. But see, notice a lot of sunshine. That's the good news. So Thanksgiving regionally looks to be pretty great. And when we break it down hour by hour for us here in the Mid-South, it's looking great as well. Upper 40s to near 50 degrees, lots of sunshine, a light northwesterly breeze coming in around 5 to 10 miles per hour. I do want to give you a first alert, though. This green area here outlining the potential for heavy rain in the next 3 to 7 days. And of course, as we go past today, obviously the next rain chances, when will that be? That looks to be as we head towards the upcoming weekend. A first alert to some periods of heavy rainfall that will likely come rolling through here late Saturday night into early Sunday. And notice, for the first time this season, some blue, some pink on that map. And that's giving us some indication that the colder air is trying to drop southward. I think it's kind of fool's gold at this point if you try to think that that's going to make its way all the way to Memphis. But, you know, when it comes down to it, as this colder air locks itself into place and there will be some moisture trying to move up across the area, there's some question marks in the extended range that could have some implications nearby. Maybe not us here in the Mid-South, but maybe nearby Cape Girardeau, Poplar Bluff, Paducah, Carbondale. Those areas may be tangling with some wintry precipitation not terribly far off down the road. In our area, as we get this rainmaker to move into our neck of the woods, we'll start off with Friday morning, give you a first alert to sunshine on Black Friday to at least start off the day. The clouds thicken up through the afternoon hours. Here come the rain showers, but notice most of them still west of the Action News 5 coverage area Saturday morning. If you are traveling northbound, just understand that there's probably going to be a couple of things. There might be a little bit of snow and sleet north of Cape Girardeau heading up towards St. Louis during the morning hours on Saturday. Will switch over to rain and then a backfill of some snowflakes Sunday morning as the whole system moves off towards the east. There's a little bit of a lull, but there's another system that looks to be looming in the distance that will take us into the early portions of next week. So yet another system likely to have impact on us as we head towards Monday, Tuesday of next week. That could have some implications from the standpoint of rain showers here locally, but you know, again, regionally may have some wintry impacts in some instances. There's also some indication that we would run cooler here as well. I'm not going as cold as some of the guidance currently is located at because there is a large spread in guidance. If you look at one model today, it's in the 60s for highs on Monday, while other models are in the 30s for highs. So there's a large spread in temperature. So we're kind of taking the middle road there for the extended forecast here. Good news is that as we head towards the mid and latter portion of next week, we start to come out of the unsettled pattern, but there's still going to be some inklings of an unsettled pattern that will quickly flip and flop as we head into next week. So there will be some indication occasionally of some colder air intrusion with maybe some moisture nearby. The question mark is, how does it play out? In the short term, though, hey, we'll still deal with some spritz and sprinkles here this morning. We'll deal with breezier conditions, but at least brighter conditions for your Wednesday. Thanksgiving looking great. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s early on Black Friday. We'll see sunshine early on. The clouds thickening up for Friday evening. Here comes the rain, but it will hold off until after lunchtime on Saturday night into Sunday. That's when we have the best chances for rain. A little bit of a lull before the next system loads up here as we head towards the latter half of Monday into Tuesday.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I am joined right now by Kel Mitchell, actor, comedian. Many people remember him from a number of different shows. In fact, we were talking in the newsroom, Kel. Welcome back, by the way. We were talking in the newsroom about some of the different shows that you were a part of in the 90s with Keenan. And it's good to have you back here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. And I'm really interested in this Christian humanitarian organization that helps families this time of year. Excited to hear more. Good morning.
Oh, hey, how are you? Thank you for having me. Well, the gift catalog features hundreds of life-changing options, including gifts of clean water, animals, farming tools, basic health care, emergency aid. World Vision provides that for so many families across the world. And you can do that by going on worldvision.org and getting the gift catalog, and you'll be able to help families. And I'm all about that, giving joy on Giving Tuesday, and also remembering to be the reason why somebody smiles.
Yeah, no question about it, Kel. So let's talk about this organization, because I know the thousands of people that are watching us right now, this is the first time they're hearing about it. Tell us a little bit more about this organization and how you in particular got involved.
Well, I got involved during the pandemic. They were doing amazing things by giving clean water to so many that needed it, and also helping with emergency kits with families here in the US. And so I wanted to be a part of that. And they've been doing this for over 75 years, helping families all over the world. And so if you definitely want to be part of an organization that is really helping others, and you can see your donations really making change, World Vision is the place to be. Yeah.
So, so what kind of donations can people give? Do they should they give monetarily? Do they give actual, different things that the organization needs?
Yeah, well, you can get on the World Vision gift catalog, and you get, like, for instance, a $100 donation can help pay for one healthy goat that can give up to 16 cups of milk daily to a family and help a family in need. It's really cool. It's so many different gifts in this gift catalog where that you can help sponsor a family. And when you look at the gift catalog with your family, it really helps your kids and help them know about generosity, because there's so many different gifts that you can give. With giving a gift to yourself, but then also you paying for that gift will also help a family across the world. Yeah.
So, Kel, let me ask you: are these organizations, or rather, are these families? Can the donor give and earmark it to certain countries? Does it stay here? How does that work?
Oh, it's all over. You can pick. You can pick as well. You have different options in the catalog, which one you want to do, whether you want to give a go, whether you want to sponsor a child, where do you want to do it, what country you want to do that in, or even if you want to just help a family right here in the US. There's so many amazing options and ways for you to give.
That's fantastic, Kel. So one more time for everyone out there, can you give us the web address so people can get some more information and donate?
Oh, definitely. Worldvision.org. Worldvision.org. That's where you log on and get the gifts catalog and get all the information you need.
One more thing before we let you go. Tell me what you're doing these days.
Oh, well, to speak more on helping others, I'm on a new show called Play It Forward, Game On, and it's actually on Nickelodeon, Paramount Plus. And we go in and we do extreme makeovers for sports teams in need. So we go in there and with Dick's Sporting Goods, and we get them all new equipment, sports equipment. We change the gyms up, and yeah, it's a great show. It's a tearjerker, and it's on every Wednesday night at 5 p.m. You gotta check it out.
Appreciate it, Kel. Thank you so much joining us once again on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Thanks again for letting us know about the organization and spreading that love and cheer this holiday season. We appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you too. Happy holidays.
Yeah. Happy holidays. All right. Another live look from our high five cameras. We go to break on this Tuesday morning. We're talking in 1 minute on Action News 5's Digital Desk. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We love it when native Memphians make it big on a big national stage, and my next guest certainly has done that, and we are proud of it. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Brandy Evans. She is one of the stars of Reasonable Doubt, and right now she's joining me on the Action News 5 Digital Desk to talk a little bit about that and a little bit about her career. And Brandy, as I was getting ready for this interview, I had someone in the newsroom tell me, oh my gosh, that's my English teacher. How are you this morning? Good morning, Brandy.
Yes.
What's up?
Good morning. Oh, hey, home. I could cry right now. I miss my family so much. It's good to be home. I feel like I'm at home right now. Hey, Memphis.
Hey, all right. Well, listen, we are so proud of you and so happy to talk to you right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. So tell us how this all happened, this amazing breakthrough in your career. From what I understand, here you are, you're a native Memphian, you are an English teacher in high school, and then you get this break in like a Katy Perry video, and then suddenly a few other breaks, and next thing you know, you're like starring in a Hulu streaming show that is just, everyone's talking about. So give me the details.
Yes, God is good. Thank you, Lord. I am just so grateful. You know, being a Memphian, I went to Colonial Junior High. I went to Overton High School, and the performing arts has always been in my blood. And so right after I graduated from the University of Memphis, I started teaching high school English. And then I got to the point where I was the department chair at Southwind High School, and I always loved it. I love my students. I think one of them is there right now. Loved my students, but there was always something in the back of my mind like, there's a dream that I haven't completely fulfilled. So I took my talents to Los Angeles. So I went to LA, and I just wanted to take dance classes as a former NBA dancer for the Grizzlies. And I auditioned for Katy Perry and ended up in the California Girls video. And I feel like my life just took off from there, and I was able to choreograph for Monica, who's on tour now with Brandy, as you all know, and Lettucey, danced with Snoop, and did all of these things. And then I was like, okay, my body's getting tired now. And I took an acting class with Tasha Smith, and that is when I feel like I found my passion. So it feels good to know that I was preaching to my students, you know, you don't give up. But deep in my heart, I was like, you're not doing what you really want to do. I would leave school some days right after school on a Friday and fly to Los Angeles and take dance classes. And then when that big break happened, I'm just so grateful with P-Valley, as we know, which is based off of a neighborhood that used to be in Memphis, Tennessee, and in the area. So really, really grateful to be able to do my dream finally. And dreams don't have expiration dates.
That is so great. I mean, like, Overton High School, my gosh, the amount of people and the amount of talent that has come out of Overton High School is really incredible. I don't have to tell you that, Brandy. I mean, you know the amount of talent that comes out of Overton Park High School.
Strives to educate the total person. I still remember the motto. That is our motto right there. I still remember it.
Fantastic. So listen, let's talk now about Reasonable Doubt. I got some video here, and this is intense. It's about the pursuit of justice, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I have 6 nephews back home, so this was very important. It was very difficult for me to take on this role because I'm thinking about my baby boys, and I think about AJ, who's actually 13 years old, and what if something like that happened to him? So I'm hoping that people are able to see the truth about this, and we're paying attention, because a lot of times we're just rushing to put our kids in these things, in these sports, on these TV shows, or whatever they're doing, and we're not paying attention to what our babies aren't saying to us. And also our boys. A lot of times our girls, we're putting our eyes on our girls a lot more than we are on our boys when it comes to things like this. And we're like, oh, it's so cool. He's dating someone that's older than him. But is it right? So let's really pay attention to our boys as much as we are our girls. That's what I'm trying to make aware and make seen with this role on Reasonable Doubt. And I'm so grateful to Ramala Muhammad for tackling such a difficult and scary subject to talk about.
So let's talk about how people can watch this. I know that there are plenty of people that are watching it right now, but I know that there's some people that want to see you and see you in action.
Yes, Hulu. You need to get over there on Hulu, y'all. It comes out every Thursday, and you need to catch up, though, because we have our finale airing on Thursday, November 13th. So you really want to make sure you catch up on all of it, though, because this has been a journey on Reasonable Doubt. We are on season 3, and yesterday they announced that we are picked up for season 4. So I'm very, very excited. It's a great show.
Congratulations. Final thing,
Thank
just
you.
final thoughts to everybody here in Memphis and the Mid-South. Anything you want to say to folks?
I miss you all, and anyone that's watching me thinking, man, I want to do that. I was that little girl in Memphis watching TV and thinking, I wonder if I could do that. Yes, you can. You can. Do not give up. Dreams don't have expiration dates, and you don't have to be anything other than who you are. Be yourself, and it will all work out. You've got this.
What a great message. Brandy Evans, so
Thank
great
you.
to talk to you on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. God bless you and your career, and
Thank you.
congratulations with everything. Your voice sounds amazing. I love talking to you. I hope you come back on
Thank
the
you.
Action News 5 Digital Desk. We can talk
Absolutely.
more about different things, but congratulations once again. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, and thank you, Channel 5. Y'all have been supporting me, my mother, and caregiving for years, and I have not forgotten, so I'm always back here for you all. Thank you.
Awesome. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, my next guest is a 3-time Olympian, and he's currently the Team USA bobsled coach. And he, in less than 100 days, will be in Italy for the 2026 Winter Olympic Games. Look at that shot right there. Bobsled, certainly a very competitive sport in the Winter Olympic Games. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Bartlett native and Lieutenant Colonel with the U.S. Army, Garrett Hines, joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Garrett, good morning to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get involved in bobsled, especially growing up in Bartlett? Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. How you doing? Thank you for having me. Just want to say hello to all the folks there in Tennessee and Bartlett High School, my old alma mater there. Basically, I got involved by chance. I met a gentleman in college, and we drove 22 hours to Lake Placid. He asked me to come and try out. He had a flyer in his hand, and the flyer was from a guy that I eventually ended up sliding with. His name was Bruce Roselli. He was my first pilot, and that was my introduction to the sport. We drove 22 hours. We ended up paying a fee to stay at the Olympic Training Center. The next day we got up, which was required to pass a test, take a national test, and we passed that test. At least I did, and from there my career started. And I had no idea I would even end up there, coming from Tennessee, by way of SIU. So that was my start.
Wow. Okay. It's so interesting to hear how people get involved in certain competitions and certain sports. And bobsled, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, Garrett, bobsled is one of those sports out there that you can travel super, super fast. And if you're not too careful, you can have an accident that can be devastating. I have some video I want to show our audience while you talk about what we're looking at here, because bobsled, give us the ideas behind it here and what the strategy is.
Well, basically, you're taking two of the most powerful guys you can possibly put together. And this is a two-man sled that you're seeing. The driver is on the left side. He's pushing at the driver's, we call the driver's bar. The brakeman is at the back. And you want to start the sled as fast as you can. You have 50 meters to get a time. That's called the start time. And you generally have about 42 meters to run before the groove lines run out. And you'll see those groove lines. That's what the sled is sitting in. Eventually, those are out, and you have to be in the sled and sitting down. And then the pilot there takes over and takes you to glory, hopefully.
Yes, hopefully. So tell me a little bit more about your experience. I understand you've done this 3 different times in the Olympics. What has that been like? Which Olympic Games, and what are you hoping for Team USA coming up in less than 100 days?
Yes, I've been in the sport since 1992, and I joined the World Class Army Athlete Program in '96. And between that time and 2006, I competed in various games and world championships. The highlight of my career was my first medal, which was in 1996, and the medal in 2002. And then in that case, I continued on training and eventually moved over into coaching. So I went to my first Olympics as Olympic coach in 2022, and that was in China. And what we're expecting for the next 100 days, we've started our season. We're training. We will have competition in Italy, which is the track that we'll be competing in February. And we're expecting big things from all of our athletes. Our women team is stacked. Our men team, we have some of the best athletes in the world this year. We have the most depth in the world this year. And several of those athletes are from the World Class Athlete Program, which I represent, which I'm so proud to be a part of.
Fantastic. All right. Bartlett Panthers' own Garrett Hines here on the Action News 5 digital desk. Garrett, I talked not too long ago with another U.S. Army soldier that's going to be competing in the biathlon for the Winter Olympic Games. Tell me more about these soldier athletes that are competing in this year's Winter Games.
Well, one of the things that we have as part of our, I'd say, Army community is that we have this program which provides resources for us to train. And it takes most of our average athletes to just another level because we have those resources. We have the ability to support just like any other Army soldier. And on top of that, we get top tier training. And that really is the crux of why we have these amazing soldier athletes. A lot of them have careers as well that they manage along with being an Olympic athlete. And we're producing some of the best individuals, I believe, representing our country.
Excellent stuff there. I appreciate it, Garrett. Action News 5, as you probably know, is carrying much of the Olympic Games in just a few months. Anything you want to say to our audience right now? We have thousands of people who watch the Action News 5 digital desk each and every morning.
Yes, I just want to say, a couple things here. Um, we really appreciate, I do appreciate, I want to make sure that this is known that our leadership, WCAP leadership, has done a great job with bringing and growing this program. You can find out anything you need to know about that on goarmy.com. I also like to say that we always appreciate the nation getting behind the U.S., especially in the last 100 days. Our athletes are going through a lot of stress. They're going through a lot of competition, and we need that support. And lastly, I would like to just give I love you to my family. My mom, my aunt lives right there in Bartlett, Miss Shirley Hines. I want to say I love you and thank you for all your support, Andrew, and thank you for the city of Memphis and Bartlett and all the surrounding cities there that have always supported us. And even the mayor of Bartlett, I like to shout out to him, who's always given us support. So we really appreciate it and looking forward to doing great things here in the next 100 days.
Oh, yeah, we are looking forward to rooting you on as well, Garrett. Lieutenant Colonel Garrett Hines with the U.S. Army and coach of Team USA's bobsled team. Congratulations on such a successful career, not only in the military, but also with the Olympic Games. And good luck this upcoming Winter Olympic Games in Italy. Thanks so very much for joining us.
Thank you, Andrew.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The Orpheum Theater Group's downtown campus, so that consists of the Halloran Center, the Orpheum Theater. They're undergoing an exterior renovation that you're going to be seeing more and more of, this revitalization project. Let's get an update on the project, what to expect, and what it's going to look like when it's done. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Daiquiri Baptiste. She is the Vice President and COO of Orpheum Theater Group, joining us on the Digital Desk. Daiquiri, good morning to you. So tell me about the ideas behind this. Was it something that just, it needed time? It was time to get this so-called facelift? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today? The whole project really just stemmed from wanting the city to understand that both the Halloran Center and the Orpheum Theater are the same organization. We are a campus. We're not two standalone buildings. And we wanted our audience, our patrons, and just downtown residents to understand that we have a space not just inside of our doors, but outside of our doors.
Okay, and so I have some renderings here. Talk me through what we're seeing here, and is this what it's going to look like?
That is the goal. Yes, this is exactly what it's going to look like. From our board of directors to our president to our esteemed staff and team, we recognize that we have a lot of blank canvases that we want to paint with places to gather. So the Main Street Plaza is going to be phase one, is what we're calling it. You'll see a huge O that will shape the space. We want to create some Instagrammable moments, and we felt like that O that everyone is so familiar with in our name should be one of those landing spots. We're also going to do some illumination and add more lighting out in our spaces and add some seating so that it is welcoming. People may want to walk by, sit out there and have a lunch and just be right there on Main Street, and or right before a performance, you want to have people to come downtown to say, hey, meet me at the O, meet me in the middle between the Orpheum and the Halloran before we enter one of the spaces. We've already added some lights that was across Bill Street last year, which is again also helping with adding more light, more gathering, if you will, around our spaces. Phase two of our project will take place on the corner of Beale and Front Street in the back of our building. That's the image you're seeing there. Again, another infamous a big splash on the back of our campus, which is currently now just a basic parking lot. We hope to do engagement opportunities in both of those spaces, and more particularly in the back on the front and Beale corner.
What brought this about? Is it just one of those things where, hey, look, it's time to upgrade a little bit?
That's exactly it. We recognize that we've done a lot of improvements inside of our spaces. The Halloran Center is only 10 years old. The Orpheum will be 100 years old in 2028. And we just decided that it made sense to do things that were outside, just so we didn't look so bare, if you will. We took it upon ourselves to want to do this, to be good neighbors.
So many people have enjoyed the Orpheum over many years, the Halloran Center over the last 10 years, as you mentioned. Does it mean that they're going to close at any point, or are they going to lose seats or anything like that?
Not at all. Our goal always with all of our projects is to have continuous business continuity. So working with our contractors and our architects, along with our programming that we do inside, the goal here is to not be able to stop business. We may have some signs that say, pardon our disturbance, pardon our construction, and with safe ways to walk around while it's going on. But there's no reason to believe that we will have to stop our operations that we're currently doing in order to complete these projects.
Okay, great. So what's the timetable for all this?
Well, phase one, which is the Main Street campus, we're slotted to start that work from a construction standpoint late November, early December, with a hopeful completion date by middle to late spring. And then phase two will start shortly thereafter, hopefully in quarter four of 2026, to then hopefully be completed preferably in that same timeline. But the ultimate goal is that by November of 2028, when we'll be celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Orpheum Theater, all of this work will be done, and our campus will not just be vibrant on the inside, but be fully activated on the outside, welcoming people not just to shows, Broadway, or music, but anything we could possibly imagine outside.
Fantastic. Okay, so anything else you wanted to mention to our audience? We have thousands of people who join us each and every morning.
I just want to say thank you so much for already being patrons of the arts that enter our spaces. And please spread the word. Please know that the Orpheum Theater Group is here to celebrate the city of Memphis, and that we want to, with these projects, be able to lift up even more artists in our spaces.
Fantastic. All right, Daiquiri Baptiste, we appreciate you coming on the digital desk and telling us about this exciting project that'll really transform that whole area, the downtown theater district, if you will, for November 2028, the 100th anniversary of the Orpheum. I love it. Thanks for coming on the digital desk. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Tuesday. Of course, we were dealing with rain and storms through the course of your Monday. And in the wake of those rain and storms, we ended up with some gusty winds. Actually, a lot of these gusts that you see here, these actually came after the rain came to an end. What we call a wake low. Basically, as these storms were racing out towards the east, there was a vacuum that was being created behind that, and it created a big surge of wind. And that's why we had some wind gusts over 45 miles per hour, nearing 50 here officially at Memphis International, 49, 47 in Tunica, 39 mile per hour wind gusts there in Mariana across the river. And again, you got 40 plus mile per hour wind gusts. It says 19 here in West Memphis. I think actually the wind gusts got up to 37, but it was prior to midnight. A lot of these gusts here came after midnight. Early this morning, and you notice again another big gust of wind around Jackson, Tennessee, up about 40, 45 miles per hour there. Now, the winds have died down considerably and will likely stay that way throughout the course of the day. A lot of clouds, some mist, some drizzle here to start off the day. Temperatures will be very slow to climb, and they won't climb all that much, only to the mid 60s here today. There could be a little bit of sunshine on the back end of it, but don't bank on a lot. The clouds will clear more so tonight into the early hours of your Wednesday. Outside of maybe some banks of fog early on Wednesday, sunshine to return, brighter skies here as we head towards your Thanksgiving and into Black Friday as well. Obviously, cooler weather moving into the fold, below average for this time of the year, but it's not the coldest weather that we've ever seen. If you got plans to be out and about here regionally on Thursday for Thanksgiving, a high near 50 here, Memphis, 55 Little Rock, 61 in Shreveport, Louisiana, about 60 in Jackson, Mississippi, mid 50s, Birmingham, Alabama, upper 50s, Montgomery, in the 40s out towards Knoxville and Nashville, upper 30s in Cincinnati, St. Louis, about 40, 41 degrees in Kansas City and Tulsa, Oklahoma, about 54 degrees. But see, notice a lot of sunshine. That's the good news. So Thanksgiving regionally looks to be pretty great. And when we break it down hour by hour for us here in the Mid-South, it's looking great as well. Upper 40s to near 50 degrees, lots of sunshine, a light northwesterly breeze coming in around 5 to 10 miles per hour. I do want to give you a first alert, though. This green area here outlining the potential for heavy rain in the next 3 to 7 days. And of course, as we go past today, obviously the next rain chances, when will that be? That looks to be as we head towards the upcoming weekend. A first alert to some periods of heavy rainfall that will likely come rolling through here late Saturday night into early Sunday. And notice, for the first time this season, some blue, some pink on that map. And that's giving us some indication that the colder air is trying to drop southward. I think it's kind of fool's gold at this point if you try to think that that's going to make its way all the way to Memphis. But, you know, when it comes down to it, as this colder air locks itself into place and there will be some moisture trying to move up across the area, there are some question marks in the extended range that could have some implications nearby. Maybe not us here in the Mid-South, but maybe nearby Cape Girardeau, Poplar Bluff, Paducah, Carbondale. Those areas may be tangling with some wintry precipitation not terribly far off down the road. In our area, as we get this rainmaker to move into our neck of the woods, we'll start off with Friday morning, give you a first alert to sunshine on Black Friday to at least start off the day. The clouds thicken up through the afternoon hours. Here come the rain showers, but notice most of them still west of the Action News 5 coverage area Saturday morning. If you are traveling northbound, just understand that there's probably going to be a couple of things. There might be a little bit of snow and sleet north of Cape Girardeau heading up towards St. Louis during the morning hours on Saturday. We'll switch over to rain and then a backfill of some snowflakes Sunday morning as the whole system moves off towards the east. There's a little bit of a lull, but there's another system that looks to be looming in the distance that will take us into the early portions of next week. So yet another system likely to have impact on us as we head towards Monday, Tuesday of next week. That could have some implications from the standpoint of rain showers here locally, but you know, again, regionally may have some wintry impacts in some instances. There's also some indication that we would run cooler here as well. I'm not going as cold as some of the guidance currently is located at because there is a large spread in guidance. If you look at one model today, it's in the 60s for highs on Monday, while other models are in the 30s for highs. So there's a large spread in temperature. So we're kind of taking the middle road there for the extended forecast here. Good news is that as we head towards the mid and latter portion of next week, we start to come out of the unsettled pattern, but there's still going to be some inklings of an unsettled pattern that will quickly flip and flop as we head into next week. So there will be some indication occasionally of some colder air intrusion with maybe some moisture nearby. The question mark is, how does it play out? In the short term, though, hey, we'll still deal with some spritz and sprinkles here this morning. We'll deal with breezier conditions, but at least brighter conditions for your Wednesday. Thanksgiving looking great. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s early on Black Friday. We'll see sunshine early on. The clouds thickening up for Friday evening. Here comes the rain, but it will hold off until after lunchtime on Saturday night into Sunday. That's when we have the best chances for rain. A little bit of a lull before the next system loads up here as we head towards the latter half of Monday into Tuesday.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. My next guest has just written a book here. It's called Lead Solo, and he is a former Navy commander. He is someone who flew combat missions overseas. He also was a part of the Blue Angels. He also was, get this, a stunt pilot for the movie Top Gun. Certainly very, very accomplished, and I'm happy to be joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Frank Weiser, known as Walleye, and he is going to talk more a little bit about his career and certainly this book. Frank, good morning to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Yeah, as you said, you just did the quick bio, but had the privilege of flying Navy airplanes for 21 years. Flew from the East Coast and the West Coast off of multiple aircraft carriers and deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan a few times. But then also served with the Blue Angels for almost 10 years of those 20. And then in doing so, I was a part of Top Gun Maverick, primarily based on my experience at low altitude with the Blue Angels and trying to mitigate some of the risks associated. But we filmed that in 2018 and 2019. Despite the fact the movie didn't come out until 2022.
I love that movie. I took my son. We had a great time. It was a great movie. And so, no question, you are an accomplished pilot. Tell me about what this book is about. Is it about your overall Navy journey? Is it about piloting? Is it about life lessons? All of the above? What do you have to say?
Yeah, I think all of the above. It was actually built off of a speech I gave at the Naval Academy for the midshipmen there. And the Naval Institute Press, who published that book, came to me after the speech and said, would you take that speech and turn it into a digestible form in a 50, 60,000 word book, a short book that doesn't take but a couple hours to read. And we thought some of what you said in there to the midshipmen and to the folks in the presentation, it might help them either in aviation or in a military career or just in life. And it was basically my attempt to showcase and describe some of the skills, some of the lessons I had learned flying airplanes, talking about how we maintain perspective. You know, and a military perspective is different than a civilian perspective, but the Blue Angels fly our air shows for the perspective of the crowd. And so it changes. It doesn't matter what we see. It matters what the crowd sees. And you can take that and apply it to everyday life, regardless of what your chosen field or work is. And it has kind of a game-changing effect. But also how we deal with adversity when things go wrong. An aircraft engine exploding at 200 feet is a worthwhile emergency to be prepared for. But the same applies to our jobs in everyday life. So it's lessons like that. The Institute asked me to put it down to a book, and so I was able to use stories from my time flying off aircraft carriers with the Blue Angels, even sort of behind the scenes of Top Gun Maverick stories, to illustrate these lessons.
So I know that several people, tons of people are going to read this book. I know that several and tons have read the book already. What kind of feedback are you getting? And are there specific moments in the book where people are just like, it's resonating with every crowd and every person that reads it?
Yeah, the fun part is a number of people I'm very close with, people I served with, friends of mine from high school, my own family, read it and said, "Boy, I hadn't heard half of those stories." And so it just goes to show you that we share what we share, but when you take the time, when I take a year to go through and find stories that are notable and that might drive home these points, I pulled some stuff out that I hadn't really, it wasn't in my daily conversation. But I do think that there are some benefits. I've applied a lot of the lessons we had in the Navy to my life as a real estate developer in general contracting or in any form of other forms of business. Things like, what we do really well in naval aviation is we admit our own mistakes. There is some confidence required to be able to say, I screwed something up. But those words, I don't know, are very rarely heard in normal business. And so the confidence and the courage to admit when you don't know something or when you've messed something up allows a team the benefit of moving forward in ways they might not have before. So the feedback I've received has been good, and I don't want to say surprisingly so, but pleasantly so. And it's from all over. It's from adults who might have served and said, I read this, it brought me back to my days in the aircraft carrier, I'm buying it for my grandkid. Or people who didn't serve at all and just said, I took a lot away from this. I didn't have to have flown F-18s to be able to take these lessons and apply them in my daily life.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're here in Memphis and the Mid-South, which is North Mississippi, Eastern Arkansas, West Tennessee. Anything else you want to share with our audience? We have thousands of people who watch us each and every morning, Frank.
Well, the thing that's really relevant for me is this book was written because I was asked to, but it was important to me that I didn't leverage my exceptional opportunities. There's nothing unique about me. I've just had the privilege to serve with some really incredible men and women, and hopefully was able to learn what they were teaching me along the way. All the proceeds from this book go to the Wingman Foundation. My author royalties go to them, and then even the Naval Institute Press was willing to put aside a portion of their normal earnings to them. Wingman Foundation is an incredible military charity that supports the families of Navy and Marine Corps aircrew who have been in mishaps. So I'm pleased in that regard that hopefully if the book does have a good is reviewed well and people enjoy it, that's super. But the fact that a portion of every book sold goes to charity, and a really worthwhile charity, very much matters to me.
Okay, Frank Weiser, author of the book Lead Solo. You can pick it up anywhere you buy books these days. Frank, thank you for your service. Thanks for coming on the Digital Desk. Congratulations on the book, and we appreciate your time. Thank Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. There is so much research that's happening at the University of Memphis. We talk to some of the professors and some of the researchers these days, and they do deep dives into topics that affect our daily lives, everything from, dietary supplements or ADHD research. And this morning, I'm excited about our next interview because it's it's research that is a very important topic these days when we talk about aging, dementia, Alzheimer's. I'm joined on the Action News 5 digital desk by Melissa Papa. She is a researcher, professor at the University of Memphis, the College of Health and Sciences, to do a deep dive on aging as it relates to Alzheimer's and dementia. Melissa, thanks for joining us this morning. First off, tell me a little bit about your research project, what it was, before we get into some of the nitty-gritty of it. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. So kind of the big topic that we're really discussing today is Alzheimer's disease and muscle loss with aging, which is also termed sarcopenia. And there's a huge link between this muscle loss that occurs as part of a natural aging process and the development of Alzheimer's disease.
I totally get that. I've made it, well known that my father has Alzheimer's disease, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Tell me specifically about this research project and maybe some of the things you discovered.
So what the research really shows is that Alzheimer's disease, it's not just a disease of the brain. It appears to be more of a systemic disease. So it affects pretty much all parts of the body, from metabolic function to muscle mass. And then, of course, what everybody associates it with the brain dysfunction, cognitive loss, and those types of things.
Got it. And Alzheimer's is such a devastating disease. I know it's a form of dementia, and so many people know about that. And I can totally understand how, when your brain suffers like that, it, as a result, affects the entire body. Tell us some more research that you discovered.
So we've seen that there's a lot of the risk factors that are systemic risk factors, things like type 2 diabetes, hypertension, inflammation, that are risk factors for things like cardiovascular disease, are actually also risk factors for the development of Alzheimer's disease. Things like chronic inflammation that occurs with a lot of different diseases can cause this disruption in the brain. We know that there's dysfunction of the mitochondria, both in the brain tissue, but also in the skeletal muscle tissue. And some of these dysfunctions that occur systemically happen prior to the loss of cognitive function. And so if we're able to kind of catch these types of things or prevent these systemic dysfunctions early, we may be able to slow the decline or even prevent the development of Alzheimer's disease in some individuals.
Thank you for going there. So essentially, you're saying that if there are certain signs and symptoms out there that can give us kind of a warning point to say, hey, look, if you don't change what you're doing, or if you don't change certain things that are happening, you could end up down this path of dementia and Alzheimer's. I would love to hear more about the signs and symptoms you're talking about.
Yeah, so one of the biggest signs or predictors that is associated with, so it's not necessarily directly causing, but it's a good marker, is loss of strength. And so there's a large number of studies that have shown that in older individuals, those that have lower strength, so not necessarily muscle mass, but actual performance of that muscle, is associated with quicker declines if they do develop Alzheimer's disease, but also they're more likely to develop cognitive dysfunction or Alzheimer's disease. So they may have mild cognitive impairments earlier on than somebody who's able to maintain strength.
I hear so much, Melissa, about how important it is for older people as we age just to get out and move and exercise. So important for the body and the mind. And it just sounds like this is one of those situations that, once again, the research proves you have to, work out, stay active, walk, do what you can in order to continue to exercise throughout your life. Otherwise, you set yourself up for some diseases, and in this case, like Alzheimer's and dementia. Am I on the right path here?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, the research shows well, a lot of the research shows that even if you're not doing a lot of exercise, something is better than nothing. So going and lifting weights, if not something that somebody does regularly, start with 1 time a week and then progress to 2 times a week. If, keep walking or change the walk to a jog. Any sort of movement is better than no movement, and both aerobic exercise and resistance exercise have both shown to be beneficial in the prevention of Alzheimer's.
Okay, good to know. I want to ask about myokines. I don't know if I'm saying it right, and apparently they matter when it comes to Alzheimer's risk. Explain to our audience what they are and how they matter.
Yeah, so myokines are these little signals that are secreted from the muscle itself. So a lot of times people just think of the muscle as it's there to help us move and get around, and that's its only job. But there's a lot more to skeletal muscle than that. It's a very metabolic organ, but it also can release little proteins that signal to other organs. And these little proteins are called myokines. And so when we exercise, we actually get a bigger release of these myokines. And some of these myokines can travel up to the brain and can help with things like making new neurons, improving the health of the neurons that we currently have. A term that we call like synaptic plasticity, which basically just means your brain is a bit more adaptable.
Great stuff here. I love it, Melissa. So some final thoughts, some bottom lines out there for our audience before we let you go about the research you got.
Yeah, so there's a lot of studies that show strength is one of the best correlators or predictors of cognitive decline. So the more you can build your strength early doesn't mean you have to get big or bulky. Just be able to pick up things. Heavier the better. That's going to be a better indicator of cognitive decline. There's studies in the US, studies in China, all over the place that show that this is a big correlation. So really just kind of the more consistent you can be in exercising, the more you can prevent those systemic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, the better off you'll end up being in terms of keeping the brain healthy and the whole rest of the body healthy.
Gotcha. Is there a place we can see some of this research online, Melissa?
That's a good question. There's a lot of studies that are posted on the web, and I'm sure we can put a little post up that has some of the links to the research that I've referenced.
Okay, Melissa Pumpa, researcher and professor, University of Memphis College of Health and Sciences. Appreciate the deep dive into some of the research you found when it came to aging and Alzheimer's disease. Thank you so much for sharing that with us and our audience here on the Action News 5.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Tuesday. Of course, we were dealing with rain and storms through the course of your Monday. And in the wake of those rain and storms, we ended up with some gusty winds. Actually, a lot of these gusts that you see here, these actually came after the rain came to an end. What we call a wake low. Basically, as these storms were racing out towards the east, there was a vacuum that was being created behind that, and it created a big surge of wind. And that's why we had some wind gusts over 45 miles per hour, nearing 50 here officially at Memphis International, 49, 47 in Tunica, 39 mile per hour wind gusts there in Mariana across the river. And again, you got 40 plus mile per hour wind gusts. It says 19 here in West Memphis. I think actually the wind gusts got up to 37, but it was prior to midnight. A lot of these gusts here came after midnight, early this morning, and you notice again another big gust of wind around Jackson, Tennessee, up about 40, 45 miles per hour there. Now, the winds have died down considerably and will likely stay that way throughout the course of the day. A lot of clouds, some mist, some drizzle here to start off the day. Temperatures will be very slow to climb, and they won't climb all that much, only to the mid 60s here today. There could be a little bit of sunshine on the back end of it, but don't bank on a lot. The clouds will clear more so tonight into the early hours of your Wednesday. Outside of maybe some banks of fog early on Wednesday, sunshine to return, brighter skies here as we head towards your Thanksgiving and into Black Friday as well. Obviously, cooler weather moving into the fold, below average for this time of the year, but it's not the coldest weather that we've ever seen. If you got plans to be out and about here regionally on Thursday for Thanksgiving, a high near 50 here, Memphis, 55 Little Rock, 61 in Shreveport, Louisiana, about 60 in Jackson, Mississippi, mid 50s, Birmingham, Alabama, upper 50s, Montgomery, in the 40s out towards Knoxville and Nashville, upper 30s in Cincinnati, St. Louis, about 40, 41 degrees in Kansas City, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, about 54 degrees. But see, notice a lot of sunshine. That's the good news. So Thanksgiving regionally looks to be pretty great. And when we break it down hour by hour for us here in the Mid-South, it's looking great as well. Upper 40s to near 50 degrees, lots of sunshine, a light northwesterly breeze coming in around 5 to 10 miles per hour. I do want to give you a first alert, though. This green area here outlining the potential for heavy rain in the next 3 to 7 days. And of course, as we go past today, obviously the next rain chances, when will that be? That looks to be as we head towards the upcoming weekend. A first alert to some periods of heavy rainfall that will likely come rolling through here late Saturday night into early Sunday. And notice, for the first time this season, some blue, some pink on that map. And that's giving us some indication that the colder air is trying to drop southward. I think it's kind of fool's gold at this point if you try to think that that's going to make its way all the way to Memphis. But, you know, when it comes down to it, as this colder air locks itself into place and there will be some moisture trying to move up across the area, there are some question marks in the extended range that could have some implications nearby. Maybe not us here in the Mid-South, but maybe nearby Cape Girardeau, Poplar Bluff, Paducah, Carbondale. Those areas may be tangling with some wintry precipitation not terribly far off down the road. In our area, as we get this rainmaker to move into our neck of the woods, we'll start off with Friday morning, give you a first alert to sunshine on Black Friday to at least start off the day. The clouds thicken up through the afternoon hours. Here come the rain showers, but notice most of them still west of the Action News 5 coverage area Saturday morning. If you are traveling northbound, just understand that there's probably going to be a couple of things. There might be a little bit of snow and sleet north of Cape Girardeau heading up towards St. Louis during the morning hours on Saturday. We'll switch over to rain and then a backfill of some snowflakes Sunday morning as the whole system moves off towards the east. There's a little bit of a lull, but there's another system that looks to be looming in the distance that will take us into the early portions of next week. So yet another system likely to have impact on us as we head towards Monday, Tuesday of next week. That could have some implications from the standpoint of rain showers here locally, but you know, again, regionally may have some wintry impacts in some instances. There's also some indication that we would run cooler here as well. I'm not going as cold as some of the guidance currently is located at because there is a large spread in guidance. If you look at one model today, it's in the 60s for highs on Monday, while other models are in the 30s for highs. So there's a large spread in temperature. So we're kind of taking the middle road there for the extended forecast here. Good news is that as we head towards the mid and latter portion of next week, we start to come out of the unsettled pattern, but there's still going to be some inklings of an unsettled pattern that will quickly flip and flop as we head into next week. So there will be some indication occasionally of some colder air intrusion with maybe some moisture nearby. The question mark is, how does it play out? In the short term, though, hey, we'll still deal with some spritz and sprinkles here this morning. We'll deal with breezier conditions, but at least brighter conditions for your Wednesday. Thanksgiving looking great. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s early on Black Friday. We'll see sunshine early on. The clouds thickening up for Friday evening. Here comes the rain, but it will hold off until after lunchtime on Saturday night into Sunday, that's when we have the best chances for rain. A little bit of a lull before the next system loads up here as we head towards the latter half of Monday into Tuesday.
Place finish in 2022's Winter Olympic Games in Beijing, and she hopes to bring the first medal in the sport to the U.S. She is joining me right now on the Action News 5 digital desk, Staff Sergeant Deidre Irwin. Good morning to you. First, give me a little bit of background on who you are, where you're from, how long you've been in the Army. Good morning.
Morning. Thanks for having me. So I'm originally from Green Bay, Wisconsin area. I started skiing when I was 16 years old, and I started biathlon when I was about 25 years old, right before I joined the military. And so biathlon is a combination of Nordic skiing and precision rifle marksmanship. It's super unique winter sport that not a lot of people know about, but it's a really incredible, diverse sport where you have to have the endurance of Nordic skiing and then the precision of rifle marksmanship. And so I joined the military in 2019, and I've been, competing for the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program for this last Olympic cycle, and really, really excited to try and get the first Olympic medal for the U.S. biathlon.
Well, congratulations, and I appreciate you giving us a background. I do remember watching the biathlon. This is where, correct me if I'm wrong, this is where, the athletes ski like crazy. They try to go as fast as they can, and then they pull out a gun and start shooting target practice. I know that's a rough description, but is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, it's a rough description, but it's totally accurate. We're skiing our hearts out there, and then we have to get on the range and we have to completely switch mentalities to all of a sudden become a calm, cool, and focused precision shooter. It's not really two sports you would think that would go together, but it's incredibly unique, and it's exciting because of that, because you never know, who's going to hit all their targets or who's going to ski the fastest. And every day there can be a completely different, athlete on the podium.
I love that. All right. Well, how does someone get into the idea of saying, you know what, I'm going to train for the U.S. Olympics? Oh, yeah? What are you going to train for? I'm going to train for a biathlon. Like, how did you come to that conclusion?
Yeah, so I grew up Nordic skiing, and in college I Nordic skied. And when I was thinking about retiring from it, I had a friend reach out to me and tell me about the sport of biathlon. And I didn't grow up, hunting or shooting or anything like that. So when I first got behind that rifle, it was the coolest thing I'd ever experienced. And then, like you said, adding that uniqueness of skiing as fast as you can and then trying to get on the mat and stop and shoot. It was addicting every single time I was able to hit a target. And so I think it's one of those things where for me, it kind of just fell into my lap and ended up becoming, just part of my path to, the Olympics that I didn't really know I was going to, pursue when I was younger, growing up wanting to be an Olympian.
Fantastic. Wait, did you say the coolest thing and you're talking about the Winter Olympics? Just kidding. I'll let that go, Deidre. Okay,
yes.
Cool.
Great puns. Great puns.
Yeah. So tell me about how the U.S. Army has really supported your journey here with the Olympics.
Yeah, so being able to be a full-time soldier in the U.S. Army, specifically with the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program, it's been incredible. They've been able to take a lot of those stressors that you normally have as a professional athlete, especially as an Olympian. A lot of us, are in such unique sports that we're not able to get all the cool sponsor deals and everything like that to make it a full career. And so the U.S. Army has been able to help me in giving me a full-time competitive salary, the health benefits, student loan repayment, all of that stuff has been a weight taken off of my shoulders. So I can just really pursue and focus on just being an elite athlete and, being, another pun, all I can be in the Army, and so, trying to make it towards that Olympic podium.
Tell me about other soldiers that are part of the Olympic team in the U.S.
Yeah, so the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program has soldiers in many sports, from wrestling to bobsled, track and field, Nordic skiing, and biathlon, like I'm in. And we all have different military jobs, Army jobs. So like I'm a human resource specialist. You have people who are truck drivers, infantrymen, supply sergeants, so we have these dual careers, which is really amazing because we're able to pursue our Olympic dreams and our Olympic potential while also building careers in the U.S. Army that when we do decide to retire from sport, we're able to fall back and have very successful, very fulfilling careers with the U.S. Army.
Fantastic. Okay, well, if someone's watching right now, and we have thousands who watch each and every morning here on the Digital Desk, if someone's watching, they want to support you and your journey, what can they do, Deidre?
Well, they can definitely follow me and find me on Instagram if you specifically want to watch biathlon. But you can also go to goarmy.com if you want to figure out how to be a soldier yourself or find out more about the other U.S. Army WCAP World Class Athlete Program soldiers in all the different sports.
John and David, good morning.
Good morning.
Good
How
morning.
are you?
Doing well. Andrew Douglas here in Memphis. We got about 45 seconds until we come to you. Just wanted to say hello and thanks for taking time.
Thank you for being with
Andrew.
us.
All right. Talk to you in a second.
What is Andrew's network? Is he the Armed Forces guy?
We're an NBC affiliate.
Okay, great. Just listening to your last story, Andrew. Sorry. I know we're seeing the Armed Forces Network at some point.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, the National Dog Show, boy, that has become a pastime, a tradition for so many families out there. I'm showing you video of years gone by. This is a big time Thanksgiving tradition. Well, this morning we have the welcomed opportunity to get an opportunity to join the two hosts on the National Dog Show. They are joining me right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm joined by John O'Hurley and David Fry. Gentlemen, good morning to you. I appreciate you joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. John, I first want to start with you. Your popular and funny character on Seinfeld, Jay Peterman, is legendary, at least to Seinfeld fans like me. How did you go and transition into this as someone you're known by these days, the National Dog Show? Good morning.
Well, I did a lot of work with NBC and NBC Sports over the years, as you can well imagine, being tied to Seinfeld. But this happened kind of coincidentally, really. The head of NBC Sports took home Best in Show, the mockumentary, and watched it and laughed out loud. So much so that when he came into Monday morning meeting at NBC Sports, he said, "I know what we're going to do with that 2-hour slice between the Macy's Parade and football. We're going to do a dog show." And they about laughed him out of the office. But by the end of the day, he'd had the Kennel Club of Philadelphia license one of their shows at the National Dog Show, and called Purina. They came on as a presenting sponsor quite willingly, and then on Tuesday morning they called me in L.A., and I answered the phone and said hello, and they said woof, woof, and that's how it all started. And that 24 years ago We had an initial audience of 19 million, and now we're upwards of 25 to 30.
That's fantastic. I love hearing the backstory. David, over to you. You know, for so many families out there across the United States, this is the first time they've ever seen anything like it. What goes through your mind when preparing for something like this? Are you trying to, I don't know, talk in layman's terms, or are you concerned about maybe over talking your way when you talk about what you're seeing on stage?
Well, the dogs tell the story. It really is all about the dogs, whether John and I feel differently or not. But everybody's got a dog, and it's easy for them to relate to what we're doing. We try to educate and entertain at the same time, show them 200 different breeds of dogs, show the competition along the way, but remind them constantly that these dogs that they're seeing in the dog show are just the same as their dogs at home, as the family dogs. And we want them to think about that as they're watching the show, to think about their own dog and say, hey, you're my real best in show dog right here.
I love it. I love it. And we're looking at video right now of last year's dog show. Gentlemen, let me ask, and John, you can go first. Tell me about this year's dog show and what the audience can expect.
Well, we have a new breed, which is something that we do periodically, adding new breeds to the AKC registry. We started off back in 2002. We had 165 different breeds, and now we're up over 200. So the show has grown much more expansive and much more interesting, and recognizes so many more dogs for their form and their function. And that's really enjoyable. This year we have the Danish-Swedish farm dog as our new entry, which is a little member of the working group, and it's sitting right here and trying to be cordial right now. This is a boy-girl meeting for the first time.
Very
Pesto. This is Pesto, the Danish-Swedish farm dog. You know, the AKC calls them new breeds. Everybody calls them new breeds, but they're not new. Pesto's breed has been around for hundreds of years, almost went extinct around the turn of the century, but the farmers in Denmark and Sweden, where the name came from, they worked hard to bring the breed back and get it into this country and have enough of them in this country so that the AKC would add them to our show list. And yes, they are the new breed for this year.
Excellent, excellent. Well, final question before we let you guys go. I just wanted to ask, is there a preparation, is there a goal in mind when you guys get ready for this broadcast? Is there some sort of expectation or goal that you have?
No, really. We just, David and I just try to get out of the way of the dogs and let the cameras focus in on that. Because I guarantee you, if you're channel surfing with your remote and you happen to come across a set of puppy dog eyes, you're going to stay there. We got you.
Well, good stuff. And best of luck to both of you. Congratulations on what a wonderful franchise this is. We love it each and every year. Thank you so much for coming on the Digital Desk, and good luck on this year's show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Live look from our high five cameras. We go to break on this beautiful Tuesday. The clouds are breaking. We're getting some sunshine later this afternoon. We're going to talk about that and more on Action News 5's Digital Desk.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Tuesday, of course, we were dealing with rain and storms through the course of your Monday. And in the wake of those rain and storms, we ended up with some gusty winds. Actually, a lot of these gusts that you see here, these actually came after the rain came to an end. What we call a wake low. Basically, as these storms were racing out towards the east, there was a vacuum that was being created behind that, and it created a big surge of wind. And that's why we had some wind gusts over 45 miles per hour, nearing 50 here officially at Memphis International, 49, 47 in Tunica, 39 mile per hour wind gusts there in Mariana across the river. And again, you got 40 plus mile per hour wind gusts. It says 19 here in West Memphis. I think actually the wind gusts got up to 37, but it was prior to midnight. A lot of these gusts here came after midnight, early this morning. And you notice again another big gust of wind around Jackson, Tennessee, up about 40, 45 miles per hour there. Now, the winds have died down considerably and will likely stay that way throughout the course of the day. A lot of clouds, some mist, some drizzle here to start off the day. Temperatures will be very slow to climb, and they won't climb all that much, only to the mid 60s here today. There could be a little bit of sunshine on the back end of it, but don't bank on a lot. The clouds will clear more so tonight into the early hours of your Wednesday. Outside of maybe some banks of fog early on Wednesday, sunshine to return, brighter skies here as we head towards your Thanksgiving and into Black Friday as well. Obviously, cooler weather moving into the fold, below average for this time of the year, but it's not the coldest weather that we've ever seen. If you got plans to be out and about here regionally on Thursday for Thanksgiving, a high near 50 here in Memphis, 55 Little Rock, 61 in Shreveport, Louisiana, about 60 in Jackson, Mississippi, mid-50s Birmingham, Alabama, upper 50s Montgomery, in the 40s out towards Knoxville and Nashville, upper 30s in Cincinnati, St. Louis, about 40, 41 degrees in Kansas City, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, about 54 degrees. But see, notice a lot of sunshine. That's the good news. So Thanksgiving regionally looks to be pretty great. And when we break it down hour by hour for us here in the Mid-South, it's looking great as well. Upper 40s to near 50 degrees, lots of sunshine, a light northwesterly breeze coming in around 5 to 10 miles per hour. I do want to give you a first alert, though. This green area here outlining the potential for heavy rain in the next 3 to 7 days. And of course, as we go past today, obviously the next rain chances, when will that be? That looks to be as we head towards the upcoming weekend. A first alert to some periods of heavy rainfall that will likely come rolling through here late Saturday night into early Sunday. And notice, for the first time this season, some blue, some pink on that map. And that's giving us some indication that the colder air is trying to drop southward. I think it's kind of fool's gold at this point if you try to think that that's going to make its way all the way to Memphis. But, you know, when it comes down to it, as this colder air locks itself into place and there will be some moisture trying to move up across the area, there are some question marks in the extended range that could have some implications nearby. Maybe not us here in the Mid-South, but maybe nearby Cape Girardeau, Poplar Bluff, Paducah, Carbondale. Those areas may be tangling with some wintry precipitation not terribly far off down the road. In our area, as we get this rainmaker to move into our neck of the woods, we'll start off with Friday morning, give you a first alert to sunshine on Black Friday to at least start off the day. The clouds thicken up through the afternoon hours. Here come the rain showers, but notice most of them still west of the Action News 5 coverage area Saturday morning. If you are traveling northbound, just understand that there's probably going to be a couple of things. There might be a little bit of snow and sleet north of Cape Girardeau heading up towards St. Louis during the morning hours on Saturday. We'll switch over to rain and then a backfill of some snowflakes Sunday morning as the whole system moves off towards the east. There's a little bit of a lull, but there's another system that looks to be looming in the distance that will take us into the early portions of next week. So yet another system likely to have impact on us as we head towards Monday, Tuesday of next week. That could have some implications from the standpoint of rain showers here locally, but you know, again, regionally may have some wintry impacts in some instances. There's also some indication that we would run cooler here as well. I'm not going as cold as some of the guidance currently is located at because there is a large spread in guidance. If you look at one model today, it's in the 60s for highs on Monday, while other models are in the 30s for highs. So there's a large spread in temperature. So we're kind of taking the middle road there for the extended forecast here. Good news is that as we head towards the mid and latter portion of next week, we start to come out of the unsettled pattern, but there's still going to be some inklings of an unsettled pattern that will quickly flip and flop as we head into next week. So there will be some indication occasionally of some colder air intrusion with maybe some moisture nearby. The question mark is, how does it play out? In the short term, though, hey, we'll still deal with some spritz and sprinkles here this morning. We'll deal with breezier conditions, but at least brighter conditions for your Wednesday. Thanksgiving looking great. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s early on Black Friday. We'll see sunshine early on. The clouds thickening up for Friday evening. Here comes the rain, but it will hold off until after lunchtime on Saturday night into Sunday. That's when we have the best chances for rain. A little bit of a lull before the next system loads up here as we head towards the latter half of Monday into Tuesday.
Good morning. Welcome to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. You know, there is so much to be said about dietary supplements. We know it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Some are regulated, many are not. On the Action News 5 Digital Desk, I am joined right now by Rick Bloomer. He is the Dean of the College of Health Sciences at the University of Memphis. He is also director of the Center for Nutraceutical and Dietary Supplement Research. Very interested in some of the research, Rick, that you have discovered in this, because so many people take supplements, so many look at supplements as perhaps a fountain of youth. What has your research discovered? Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. Thanks again for having me. Good to see you again. So you're right. You started the session by mentioning the prevalence. And just last year, 2024, we saw the dollar amount exceed $250 billion worldwide in dietary supplement use. In the States here, we see individuals age 20 and older, a use rate of about 60%. That actually increases to 80% in individuals that are 60 years or older, more so in women than in men. And generally, we see the highest use rate amongst the multivitamin, multimineral, vitamin D3, and fish oil. And then we get into a whole host of other things, from amino acids to protein powders and energy drinks and shots and things of that nature. So they are extremely popular amongst individuals here in the States, in particular adults, but also in children.
Yes, and I know that there are so many people that like taking a multivitamin, and as you get older, certainly people can feel the effects, or at least they think they feel better and maybe have more energy, a boost of vitality. Some are regulated, some are not. Tell me what your research has found on this issue.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up. So I want to clear this up. The FDA and FTC do have regulatory oversight over dietary supplements. Most individuals, when I ask them that question, they say there's no oversight. That's actually incorrect. There is oversight. Back in 1994, there was a law passed called DSHEA, the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act, which essentially allowed companies to manufacture and sell products, those that we just mentioned, and as well as others, but it also gave the FDA oversight to regulate these products. Now, the issue is the regulation is post-market regulation. So once a product is in the marketplace, then the FDA and FTC have regulatory oversight. Unlike pharmaceuticals, which they have to undergo very strenuous phase 1, 2, 3 and clinical trials for safety and efficacy before they can enter the marketplace. So that's really the difference between the supplements and the pharmaceuticals.
Which supplements are the ones that are regulated? Are all of them? Are there some? Like for example, if I take a multivitamin and maybe a vitamin D3 K2, are those regulated?
All dietary supplements are regulated, and the FDA and FTC have authority to regulate. Now, what has really helped us over the past several years is something called CGMP, or Current Good Manufacturing Practices. What that essentially tells us is that supplements have to be manufactured in a facility that is CGMP compliant. And what that means is when products and ingredients are coming in, raw materials, they really should be tested and verified for efficacy, and they also should make certain that the label claim matches what is actually in the product. Some companies do a better job at that than others, but the reality is we're in a much better position today than we were 20 years ago in terms of knowing that a product's actually being produced not in someone's kitchen, but actually in a CGMP facility. So that does help, and I think a lot of individuals feel a little bit more comfort with that. Now, having said that, there are some cases where individuals will present to the ER with cases following dietary supplement use. Generally speaking, Andrew, those are specific to things that are stimulant heavy. So your weight loss products, your energy products, your pre-workouts, things of that nature. Sometimes individuals will present with heart palpitations, irregularity in rhythm, elevated rate, elevated blood pressure, things of that sort. And then you also see cases where individuals sometimes have products that are out. Kids get into those and they overdose on certain multivitamin minerals. And then sometimes you see individuals that frankly have issues with swallowing some of the larger tablets and capsules, so they present to the ER as well. So there are some cases where individuals do have some safety-related issues following the use of dietary supplements.
I was always told, Rick, that if you want to get a supplement, the best ones you should get are ones that are independently verified by a third party made in the United States. Is that a good rule of thumb? What do you think?
I think it is. There are a few different organizations. One is called USP, or United States Pharmacopoeia, and you'll see a little USP symbol on a particular bottle or label if a company has actually gone through that. And what that is, it's almost like an independent auditing process where I, as a company, ask the organization to come in and do a thorough evaluation of my product, my production, my label claims, et cetera. And from there, if I pass, I'm essentially given that stamp to place on my product. USP is one, another is Informed Choice, another is NSF Certified for Sport. And those are important for athletes in particular, because if an athlete uses a product and then they get tested and they test positive for a banned substance, they could be losing a scholarship, they can be losing a contract. So that's something of real concern. So I think it does make sense to work with a reputable company that has gone that extra step to actually get certified through one of those outside third-party independent organizations.
Are there any supplements that you consider staples for adults out there that they should be taking every day?
I think first and foremost, people need to focus on whole food nutrition. Whole food nutrition, physical activity, regular structured exercise, inclusive of both resistance and cardiovascular, regular quality nightly sleep, 7+ hours or so per night, stress reduction. Frankly, those things are going to account for probably 95+% of someone's physical success. But beyond that, I do think there are some things that make really good sense. A good quality multivitamin, multimineral, vitamin D3, I think you mentioned both of those up front. And then fish oil. Those are things that I take and have taken regularly. I think most people could benefit from those. The evidence is quite clear on that. And really, you're only talking about probably 50 to 60 cents a day. So I think that's a very good and relatively inexpensive insurance policy for most individuals.
Anything else you want to mention before we let you go, Rick? I always enjoy our conversations, no matter the topic.
Yeah, appreciate it. Andrew, we can probably spend an entire hour talking through topics related to dietary supplementation, but I think the bottom line is the lifestyle approach has to be there first and foremost. We cannot supplement a pill or a capsule to make up for our lack of those other things that I mentioned previously. And then we also need to understand that there are many dietary supplements frankly, that probably would not be worth our time and effort and money. But there are many others that actually do have strong efficacy, and it really depends on the individual and what they're looking to obtain. Just as an example, creatine monohydrate for many people can be very useful. Lutein zeaxanthin for someone with issues with eye health and macular degeneration. Caffeine coupled with L-theanine for cognitive performance at a low dose. Multiple clinical evaluations showing efficacy of those combinations or individual ingredients. So there are definitely things that people need to pay attention to. I always encourage people to go to PubMed, the medical database, do some searching, do their homework, and make certain that we're not relying on, so-called influencers to provide information, but they're doing their own homework and finding information out that they can trust.
All right, Rick Bloomer, the University of Memphis Dean, College of Health and Sciences, on the Action News 5 digital desk. Thanks so very much. Valuable information for the thousands of people who watch the digital desk each and every morning, Rick. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. The holiday season is always filled with so much joy and happiness for so many families across the Mid-South. But for some of you, in fact, many of you, the holidays can bring on a myriad of pain and grief. And on the Action News 5 digital desk, I want to bring in our next interview to talk more about ways to cope and overcome grief during the holiday season. I'm joined now by Jared Davis. He's a licensed professional counselor at Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare to really kind of help us dial in on these issues that perhaps we're going through or other family and friends are going through. Jared, nice to have you back on the digital desk. Where should we begin when it comes to coping or overcoming the kind of grief sometimes that's associated with the holidays? Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. I think one of the first places we should start is recognizing that grief isn't just about the loss of a loved one. Grief can be the loss of a job, the loss of a pet, the loss of the ability to celebrate the holidays in the way that you want to celebrate them. So grief goes beyond just death or things like that. It's any loss that you experience. And it can be around this time or something that's happened earlier this year that's making this time different than what you're used to having it as.
Yeah, I totally get that. And a lot of times, look, I mean, let's face it, there's so many people that are excited for the holiday season. And then there's another element out there that almost isn't afraid of it per se, but isn't looking forward to it either. So from the outside looking in, how should we help that person, even if they don't ask for help? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of different ways that we should be trying to help those people. One is just by acknowledging the fact that they're experiencing this grief and that's going to change the way that they likely change the way that they celebrate the holiday. So we're wanting to be supportive for them, but not just in the way that we think they should be supported. We want to actually ask the question, how can I support you through this? Because each person needs to be supported in a different way. Someone might need to vent or to talk. Some people might need to just have someone listen and get some feedback. Some people might want to reminisce and talk about the joyful times. So we want to be there for people in the ways that fit best for them, so that we can make sure that they're getting what they need.
I like that. I like that, Jared, a lot. That's a great way to start off. What about if, if we're going through some of this and perhaps, we talk to thousands of people on the Action News 5 digital desk every single morning, and there may be many that are not looking forward to this time of year. What are some best methods, practices, ideas to really kind of overcome some of that sadness or, issues with mental health?
Yeah. Well, a couple of things that you can use to overcome that sadness or deal with grief during the holidays. It's one, resist the urge to isolate. It's okay to have time alone and time to sit with your emotions, but it's another thing to wallow in them and go down that dark hole of, negative thoughts. And a lot of times when we isolate, that's exactly where we go. So I'd encourage people to resist isolating, to actually reach out for support to the people around them, or if they don't have a really large support system, looking at events that different organizations might put on for the holidays so that they can also be around people. And then another thing that I always suggest is packing your suitcase of coping skills. So if I'm going to Florida for vacation, I don't know exactly what the weather's going to be, but I know I probably shouldn't pack a parka, right? So I have an idea of what kind of weather I'm going to experience when I'm there. Likewise, when we go into a new situation or preparing for a new holiday, knowing that we're going to experience some grief there, we might not know exactly what it's going to look like, but we have an idea of some of the things that can come up. And we can kind of pack that suitcase of packing skills so that we're prepared for some of those situations when they do come up rather than being caught off guard.
Let's talk about some resources out there for people who are struggling or are concerned that they may struggle during this holiday season.
Okay, so in addition to, like I said, reaching out to your own support system, counseling is a very good way to help people to deal with grief. I like to say that grief is like weight, like it can be really heavy. And when you start to pick it up, it actually gets a little heavier because you get sore day by day. But if you continue to lift that weight every day, then eventually it gets easier. Not because the weight gets any lighter, but because we get stronger. And having a counselor is like having a personal trainer to help you learn to lift that weight.
Jared Davis, licensed professional counselor at Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare. Really appreciate this conversation. Thanks for coming on the digital desk and talking about this very important issue. We appreciate it, and happy holidays to you.
Sir, happy holidays to you too. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you. All right, another live look from our High Five cameras. We go to break on this Tuesday morning. Some clouds out there. Let's talk about a forecast that brings the sunshine in 60 seconds.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Tuesday. Of course, we were dealing with rain and storms through the course of your Monday. And in the wake of those rain and storms, we ended up with some gusty winds. Actually, a lot of these gusts that you see here, these actually came after the rain came to an end. What we call a wake low. Basically, as these storms were racing out towards the east, there was a vacuum that was being created behind that, and it created a big surge of wind. And that's why we had some wind gusts over 45 miles per hour, nearing 50 here officially at Memphis International, 49, 47 in Tunica, 39 mile per hour wind gusts there in Mariana across the river. And again, you got 40 plus mile per hour wind gusts. It says 19 here in West Memphis. I think actually the wind gusts got up to 37, but it was prior to midnight. A lot of these gusts here came after midnight. early this morning, and you notice again another big gust of wind around Jackson, Tennessee. Up about 40, 45 miles per hour there. Now, the winds have died down considerably and will likely stay that way throughout the course of the day. A lot of clouds, some mist, some drizzle here to start off the day. Temperatures will be very slow to climb, and they won't climb all that much, only to the mid-60s here today. There could be a little bit of sunshine on the back end of it, but don't bank on a lot. The clouds will clear more so tonight into the early hours of your Wednesday. Outside of maybe some banks of fog early on Wednesday, sunshine to return, brighter skies here as we head towards your Thanksgiving and into Black Friday as well. Obviously, cooler weather moving into the fold, below average for this time of the year, but it's not the coldest weather that we've ever seen. If you got plans to be out and about here regionally on Thursday for Thanksgiving, a high near 50 here, Memphis, 55 Little Rock, 61 in Shreveport, Louisiana, about 60 in Jackson, Mississippi, mid-50s Birmingham, Alabama, upper 50s Montgomery, in the 40s out towards Knoxville and Nashville, upper 30s in Cincinnati, St. Louis, about 40, 41 degrees in Kansas City, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, about 54 degrees. But see, notice a lot of sunshine. That's the good news. So Thanksgiving regionally looks to be pretty great. And when we break it down hour by hour for us here in the Mid-South, it's looking great as well. Upper 40s to near 50 degrees, lots of sunshine, a light northwesterly breeze coming in around 5 to 10 miles per hour. I do want to give you a first alert, though. This green area here outlining the potential for heavy rain in the next 3 to 7 days. And of course, as we go past today, obviously the next rain chances, when will that be? That looks to be as we head towards the upcoming weekend. A first alert to some periods of heavy rainfall that will likely come rolling through here late Saturday night into early Sunday. And notice, for the first time this season, some blue, some pink on that map. And that's giving us some indication that the colder air is trying to drop southward. I think it's kind of fool's gold at this point if you try to think that that's going to make its way all the way to Memphis. But, you know, when it comes down to it, as this colder air locks itself into place and there will be some moisture trying to move up across the area, there's some question marks in the extended range that could have some implications nearby. Maybe not us here in the Mid-South, but maybe nearby Cape Girardeau, Poplar Bluff, Paducah, Carbondale. Those areas may be tangling with some wintry precipitation not terribly far off down the road. In our area, as we get this rainmaker to move into our neck of the woods, we'll start off with Friday morning, give you a first alert to sunshine on Black Friday to at least start off the day. The clouds thicken up through the afternoon hours. Here come the rain showers, but notice most of them still west of the Action News 5 coverage area Saturday morning. If you are traveling northbound, just understand that there's probably going to be a couple of things. There might be a little bit of snow and sleet north of Cape Girardeau heading up towards St. Louis during the morning hours on Saturday. We'll switch over to rain and then a backfill of some snowflakes Sunday morning as the whole system moves off towards the east. There's a little bit of a lull, but there's another system that looks to be looming in the distance that will take us into the early portions of next week. So yet another system likely to have impact on us as we head towards Monday, Tuesday of next week. That could have some implications from the standpoint of rain showers here locally, but you know, again, regionally may have some wintry impacts in some instances. There's also some indication that we would run cooler here as well. I'm not going as cold as some of the guidance currently is located at because there is a large spread in guidance. If you look at one model today, it's in the 60s for highs on Monday, while other models are in the 30s for highs. So there's a large spread in temperature. So we're kind of taking the middle road there for the extended forecast here. Good news is that as we head towards the mid and latter portion of next week, we start to come out of the unsettled pattern, but there's still going to be some inklings of an unsettled pattern that will quickly flip and flop as we head into next week. So there will be some indication occasionally of some colder air intrusion with maybe some moisture nearby. The question mark is, how does it play out? In the short term, though, hey, we'll still deal with some spritz and sprinkles here this morning. We'll deal with breezier conditions, but at least brighter conditions for your Wednesday. Thanksgiving looking great. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s early on Black Friday. We'll see sunshine early on. The clouds thickening up for Friday evening. Here comes the rain, but it will hold off until after lunchtime on Saturday night into Sunday. That's when we have the best chances for rain. A little bit of a lull before the next system loads up here as we head towards the latter half of Monday into Tuesday.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. More than 38 million Americans will be diagnosed with diabetes. And here in Tennessee, that translates to more than 760,000 Tennesseans. This is one of those diseases that you have to constantly monitor and figure out ways to control it best. And if you can, try to eliminate those symptoms, especially for type 2 diabetes. Joining me on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, I am joined right now by Dr. Anna Yang. She's a physician at Regional One Hospital to talk more, do kind of a deep dive on diabetes. Dr. Yang, where should we begin when it comes to this conversation of Memphis and the Mid-South and ways to watch for symptoms, control it, that sort of thing? Where do you want to begin this morning? Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me. So diabetes is such an important topic and such a huge topic that we're definitely not going to be able to cover everything that I would like to say on this short little segment. But this is definitely a good starting point. So many people have diabetes, and a lot of people really don't know what to do with it, how to prevent it, and really don't understand kind of the downstream effects of it either and what it can ultimately cause. Because a lot of times diabetes can be completely asymptomatic, as in you could feel a whole lot of nothing with having diabetes. So it's important to see a doctor to get screened. So as far as type 2 diabetes goes, this is more of a disease that starts in adulthood after years of potentially, eating wrong or having an inactive lifestyle, or, genetics definitely plays a role in it too. But with, childhood obesity going on, we're seeing kids with type 2 diabetes as well. Some of the symptoms that somebody with diabetes might notice early on when their blood sugar is pretty high before it's controlled can include, feeling thirsty all the time, having to go to the bathroom and urinate or pee a lot, maybe having some blurry vision, but sometimes people with diabetes have no symptoms at all because it requires a blood sugar high enough that you notice these symptoms, because the blood sugar has to be high enough that the body's trying to get rid of it through the pee, which is where you get some of these peeing a lot and, thirstiness symptoms. So even before you start to have symptoms, it is definitely important to go see your doctor for regular screening tests.
So you were mentioning this is type 2 diabetes, and that's something you can control, either prevent, right? I mean, type 1 is more genetic based. Am I accurate with that?
Yeah, so type 1 is somewhat genetic based, but also it's sometimes just random, even when there's no genetic predisposition necessarily. But type 1 diabetes is generally not something somebody can prevent. It's an autoimmune disease of the pancreas, so it's not something that someone can control. Although sometimes with very late stage diabetes, when it gets really severe, sometimes it even starts to act like a type 1 diabetes, because, your body's, insulin system and pancreas are just working so poorly at that point, that it's not just insulin resistance, but you're also not producing much insulin anymore. So there's a little bit of overlap, where, type 1 diabetes at later stages, can act kind of physiologically like a type 1 diabetic. But yes, type 2 diabetes is the main thing that we're talking about, is the main thing that's, potentially preventable, and that we can really work on, as a population.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's talk about ways to prevent developing type 2 diabetes, because I know a lot of it begins with just your lifestyle, your diet, what you're doing, that sort of thing, right?
Yes, I mean, prevention is all about your lifestyle. It's all about, what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, being careful of what you're eating, making sure, you're eating a good, healthy diet that's, low in, simple carbohydrates and sugars, and making sure you're staying active and exercising on a regular basis.
Are there any tests, Anna, that we could take to see if we're prone to diabetes, or we're headed that way, or preventing it?
Yeah, so you're just, getting a random glucometer over the counter can help, but it's definitely not completely accurate for diagnosing diabetes or even pre-diabetes. So that's why it's definitely important to go to your doctor and see them. They can, give you a better idea of when, based on your risk factors and your age, when you need to start really screening for diabetes. In general, there are two tests for your average adult that we use, which is the fasting glucose, which is just your blood sugar check after you haven't eaten for about 8 hours or so, and then the hemoglobin A1C study, which kind of gives us more of an idea of what your blood sugars are doing over about a 3-month period. For pregnant people, for gestational diabetes screening, which is diabetes you get because of pregnancy potentially, there's a different type of test called the glucose tolerance test, where you're drinking a sugary drink and then they're checking your blood sugar after that.
Let me ask you about the holidays. We're entering a holiday season where there's going to be a lot of eating and sweets and cocktails and that sort of thing. What are your best practices to just kind of stay on the straight and narrow with all this great food that's very rich and a lot of times full of sugar and that sort of thing?
Yeah, diabetes is really tough this time of year. So it's a great time to talk about this in between the Halloween candy and the Thanksgiving dinner and the Christmas cookies. It's a tough time to have diabetes, but it is really important to stay on top of it. Now, that doesn't mean giving up every single sweet. That doesn't mean, not being able to take part in, these festivities and food, because, with our culture, food is such a big part of enjoying the holidays and being with family and friends. So definitely, don't completely deprive yourself of everything and be miserable, but just be careful what you're doing. Definitely, watch what you're eating in moderation. If you are going to have some sweets and desserts, just take really limited portions. Make sure you're monitoring your blood sugar still, make sure you're taking your medication still. And if you're attending these, festivities, maybe think about bringing some, different food. If you know that the only food that they're going to have there is, things that are not good for your diabetes, then, bring your own snacks, that you can have, so that you can still be eating with the group, but not necessarily, completely ignoring your diabetes and, hurting your body in the process.
Fantastic. Okay, final thoughts before we let you go, Anna, about anything else we haven't touched on with regards to diabetes control, symptoms, ways to prevent it, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it sounds kind of ominous, but just remember that even if you don't feel anything, if you have diabetes and you let your blood sugars go, even if you feel okay in that moment, that high blood sugar inside of you is causing damage to your nerves, your blood vessels, your immune system. It can, make it more difficult for you to fight off infections. It can cause major vision problems, even blindness later on. It is definitely a risk factor for, heart attacks and strokes and, major diseases like that. And also kidney failure and losing your limbs because of poor blood flow, to your legs. So these are all really important things to keep in mind through this holiday season. It may not seem important because you don't feel bad when your blood sugars are, somewhat high, but it is still causing problems inside of you. So it is really important that even through all of, the good food and, everything out there, the sweets and everything, that you still remember this and still treat it seriously.
All right, Dr. Anna Yang joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We appreciate the info as always, Anna. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Some wintry precipitation not terribly far off down the road. In our area, as we get this rainmaker to move into our neck of the woods, we'll start off with Friday morning, give you a first alert to sunshine on Black Friday to at least start off the day. The clouds thicken up through the afternoon hours. Here come the rain showers, but notice most of them still west of the Action News 5 coverage area Saturday morning. If you are traveling northbound, just understand that there's probably going to be a couple of things. There might be a little bit of snow and sleet north of Cape Girardeau heading up towards St. Louis during the morning hours on Saturday Saturday will switch over to rain, and then a backfill of some snowflakes Sunday morning as the whole system moves off towards the east. There's a little bit of a lull, but there's another system that looks to be looming in the distance that will take us into the early portions of next week. So yet another system likely to have impact on us as we head towards Monday, Tuesday of next week. That could have some implications from the standpoint of rain showers here locally, but again, regionally may have some wintry impacts in some instances. There's also some indication that we would run cooler here as well. I'm not going as cold as some of the guidance currently is located at because there is a large spread in guidance. If you look at one model today, it's in the 60s for highs on Monday, while other models are in the 30s for highs. So there's a large spread in temperature. So we're kind of taking the middle road there for the extended forecast here. Good news is that as we head towards the mid and latter portion of next week, we start to come out of the unsettled pattern, but there's still going to be some inklings of an unsettled pattern that will quickly flip and flop as we head into next week. So there will be some indication occasionally of some colder air intrusion with maybe some moisture nearby. The question mark is, how does it play out? In the short term, though, hey, we'll still deal with some spritz and sprinkles here this morning. We'll deal with breezier conditions, but at least brighter conditions for your Wednesday. Thanksgiving looking great. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s early on Black Friday. We'll see sunshine early on. The clouds thickening up for Friday evening. Here comes the rain, but it will hold off until after lunchtime on Saturday night into Sunday. That's when we have the best chances for rain. A little bit of a lull before the next system loads up here as we head towards the latter half of Monday into Tuesday.
All right, that does it for us here in the Extra News 5 Digital Desk. Have yourself a wonderful afternoon. We got Extra News 5 midday coming up at the top of the hour with all your news headlines and your detailed forecast for the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. And then join me again bright